Okay, sorry for being a little bit late, but we are here. We've got T1 versus GenG.
Yeah, she just ends up taking over
ready to go.
also in side lanes, we have the Sejuani hover right now for owner, and that's gonna be
So we're going to start with the draft. As before, I don't know the result. Obviously, seen this matchup a lot, but not exactly sure how this one's going to go. Is it going to be like Worlds or is it going to be like LCK? Maokai ban as well. That's a bit slightly strange. Azir first pick. It's been Azir Skarner a lot in the LCK. And like, this is the interesting thing, right? This draft, like these Maokai and Skarner picks, I mean bans, sorry, are much more like these teams know each other. You know, like, these teams know each other well.
Also taken away. Interesting situation for both sides of match in phase 1, so phase 2. Red side can have a lot of value for Doro. Of course, carry the guy we know for the crazy counter picks.
And it frees up stuff like the Gwen that we've seen mostly be banned.
I want to say R4 Jin, take away from Duel, one of his best champions. It works really well with these type of dive positions because it's so easy to follow up on any of the setup. Instead, it looks like we're going to save Ruler's pick and pick one of the strongest supports on the patch to Nico to come through for Doro. Nico, incredible playmaker, no doubt, right? The champion, they do have to pick something blind, makes sense, but now the question is, what does counter pick AD carry look like?
Nico blinding game 1. So, bunch of dive coming through. Annie, Wukong, Nico, and then Gwen will come in on like flanks as well. So we'll probably see the standard like front to back, very much in favor of T1. Multiple angles is going to be in favor of GenG. So that's going to be the main thing to pay attention to in the team fights.
When T1 started their run towards Worlds, KT was there, unfortunately. It was the 2v2 that started, I think, the ascent to greatness. That is true.
It's a mega hard 2v2 for Rakan Zyra, I think, early on, isn't it?
There's a lot of ability for Owner to go engage. Carry has really good follow-up. Guma is one of his comfort picks. Doran is one of his most iconic champions, has been very consistent on this Jax. Faker over here, really don't think we need to discuss that one further. For GenG though, they do have a lot of pressure in the lanes, and as mentioned, I think GenG is a team that, even though they have a reputation of being generally pretty low-key, when they get big laning advantage, they're a slow-paced team. They're facing off against a team that will literally fist fight for any
so,
they can think of. I just haven't heard the phrase low-key. It doesn't sound very low-key. Here in Vancouver to get ready for
I'm not massive. I mean, it's hard to say, right? Because during the regular season, T1, I feel like they only really looked good when Owner was playing like carries. But this is not the regular season. So I think it's good to take away the Azir from GenG.
We got it. We're gonna train. I know it's new. It's an LCK special. Not everyone's been there. We'll find out as we go. For now, though, early game noise. That's all I can ask for. And ultimately, that's the thing that we love to see. However, as we get to this first game, you can hear that. And this is what I think makes T1 so terrifying. The desperate for them as well. It's the T1 magic. Maybe oversimplified as being clutch, but again, every stage they play on feels like a home stage. And it's something that the GenG players cannot let get to them in such a high stage match.
It was really interesting to hear from Doran in his stage interview where they're like, what's been the difference being on this T1 team? And he talked a lot just about their preparation, both in and out of game, is something he's like, oh, now I see it, right? Like, now I see why and how this team has been so successful.
Look at the early lane phases. Gonna see if T1 can keep it together. I think we do when we get to the level 6 spikes. Obviously, have a lot for T1 to play for. There's the Sejuani particular. Do note that Owner has also gone for the Unsealed Spellbook, which for Sejuani's we've really generally only seen the Trundles, but the rune has just been on a tear here. Will allow Owner to join very easily with TP if he so chooses to as well later down the line.
I love that this spell is back in
Sorry, I'm
Keria,
having my
so creative, with a lot of his
sort of lunch at the same time. So
well-rounded threat all over the map.
Yeah, the surprise exhaust or smite when you're suddenly getting contested by Rakan, maybe not what you expect.
Azir getting pushed in early.
And that it does. As apparently does Doran Jax. And of course the history between these two teams. I think
And like we said, bot lane getting pushed in as well. We'll see if they go for swaps. I mean, the thing is that Jax and Gwen, like, they want to make sure that they're both, Jax especially, like, you want to make sure they're ahead. Oh. Oh. The matchup score on the bottom, that is cool. And they're gradually catching up.
And you see all those wins you're able to find. Would you not rather have won that World Finals last year? It's something that I think always warrants discussion. Early lane phase here thus far, not going too crazy one way or another, as we do have both junglers eventually looking for a gank.
And this is just upper bracket, so we might see this again.
Yeah, this will be able to, T1 should be able to set the wave in a spot where they'll be a little bit more comfortable. They were getting kind of pushed in.
It'll be what, AL versus BLG, and then versus the loser of this.
Mid lane matchup, something that we're going to keep a very close eye on because I don't think we've seen domestic Chovy yet. Last year we saw him a lot during MSI, had a couple of extremely high stakes, high pressure games, even in the finals was heavily targeted, didn't end up mattering. Had an incredible tournament. I don't really think we've seen that thus far. So we're in Keen, finding here towards top of Keen, obviously looking for a base as the lane swap does come through here. T1 going to be.
So lane swap comes through from GenG actually. Trying to play this freeze, but Dura goes way too far forward.
I don't think that works in solo queue. How the heck did that work in this level of play? Tried the Guma, found the angle, Dora overconfident, did not anticipate being there. That's going to cost him pretty heavily.
So he's really playing heavily for the freeze because I think they're trying to swap specifically for that freeze.
Could end up being a big difference maker when it comes to those early fights. Nico not having the ultimate available or the flash rider able to combine with the Pot Blossom. Is a big deal. Faker sees Canyon will cut. Let's be real, Canyon is Wukong 3-6. A little bit of damage would have been nice, but not even going to get that. Faker just shrugs it off. Goal to walk up and look menacing. It would seem. Get a bit more space for Chovy to take over 6 before he starts dropping bears in the mid lane just to get a little bit of prio. Although, I think when we were coming into this, we're like, oh gosh, Joey, first Faker, all-time greats. I think this early lane matchup probably not where we're going to see that spice. I think we might have to wait another 10 or so
No,
minutes.
we have a Sejuani and a Wukong. Look, the Wukong is like halfway to 6. But as Jordan pushes up on this bot,
And
Cryo's actually going to
they push them out. Bot Cryo. This swap is terrible. Why is this? How has this swap been so bad? It's literally just because of that freeze. So Duro nearly dies for this freeze. He has to go straight back to base. Both bot laners, top laners TP bot. Oh, so it is just 1v1 prior that. So I guess they're just trying to get Gwen out of this bad lane, even though they've got should have a good lane 2v2, but now probably not. So they crash the wave, and now Jax is just going to push back bot. That's going to allow them to get the dragon. So they're trying to swap back again.
Although, I think when we were coming into this, we're like, oh gosh, Joey, first Faker, all-time greats. I think this early lane matchup probably not where we're going to see that spice. I think we might have to wait another 10 or so minutes.
I don't think this is good. I don't really get this. Because T1 have pushed both sides in this point, and then they swap back, and
super high prio on Drakes and first Drake in particular. They actually broke BLG's kind of first Drake take percentage in their 3-0 stomp of BLG. So it's something that T1 have been prioritizing really heavily, and it's worked out super well.
I mean, Nico goes through mid, but now Jax is going to be completely fine. TP from jungler. Just to cycle through the summoners.
T1 near that bot side. King just had to watch Doran push in. The Drake taken as Chovy. And Sunrise down. Trying to get Prio in the lane, no surprise. Of course, Rico.
They did have bot prio. When they first swapped, they pushed in away, they crashed away bot, and then they swapped as well. But then they would have had prio top as well. Like they should get prio in the 2v2, I think, still, right? Starts to change now. Whew. Very aggro. Just about able to dodge, but does have to place pink. Oh, almost a nice pick around the dragon. Faker couldn't quite get in and get the ult across. Okay, they get one grab. They run straight to it though, but they're all like really low. Okay, but Jin has to go bot. So someone has to go bot to defend this, which means whoever TPs, it's going to be interrupted unless he goes far enough back with it. Oh no, it's not his TP. Oh, it's not up yet. That's why.
Maybe happy to just take one grub, try to deny all three.
Canyon, but he's dead. I mean, Faker just jumps in to die. Okay, okay, sure. He just jumped in really low and just pushed someone back and died. And Duro was over the wall, hits him with a snare, I think. We'll see if they show it again. Yeah. So Faker's like half HP. Dashes over. But gets hit by Keen stuff, Chovy stuff, and Duro over the wall with Q, which does a surprising amount of damage at this stage of the game. Oh no. Okay, nice from Carrier. Obviously T1 scaling is decent, is good. Playing that big front to back, a little easier. But this is starting to get enough gold lead, you know? And the mid games, oh, Duro.
Probably about time to mention that Jax is one of Jordan's best champions, maybe. I'm going to talk about the 1-for-1 because there you saw the power of the Jax and the Sedge working together to dive. Chovy got one back, but then steps too far forward and Doran's just able to take advantage.
And Chovy, of all people, should know, having played with Doran for a good amount of time on BRX, on GenG, don't fall for the Doran trap. Did he almost die for no reason earlier? Yes. Does that matter? No. At any point, Doran can strike. Beautifully played there, and that means that the trade goes a lot better. GenG did still get the Drake, but the gold lead that they build up now gone.
Almost 1,000 gold for the Drake, and again, starts off so positive.
No, really nice dive. Chovy dies. Chovy dies again. Okay, one dragon each.
And this T1 team in particular is so aggressive with punishing mistakes like that, or not even mistakes, but just punishing sums, forcing you to make some sort of decision on the map that leaves them in an advantage. We saw these kind of minor moves when GenG and T1 faced each other last again, specifically in that game 1 when T1 were in such a winning position. So yeah, they're punching back really well.
Oh, Doran goes in at the exact wrong timing with the Nico roam. That's the advantage of just putting Jin in mid, is that Nico gets freed up to do a lot of stuff.
Wants to try push as hard as possible. Doro finds a nice punish.
Yeah, and this should set up Keen to be able to back and buy, so he should be in a much better position in those side lanes as well.
Faker walking up.
Yep.
Not afraid to contest here, but again, it's just, the item completion. Nash is too able to just win on these trades so effortlessly. Yeah, there's some merc threats there for Joey, but it's not for Faker. That's for the rest of the team.
Chovy also going for a much more utility-based build, so Face Rush obviously makes sense into the amount of short-range threats that are there on T1. And then going for the Rod of Ages, those builds have felt pretty lackluster. I do think this is one of the few compositions where it actually makes sense, right? Because if you look at what GenG have, both in jungle and in top, and even in support, they have so much damage available that going for a more utility-based build, I think makes some sense. But it does mean that the rest of the team will need to do some more heavy lifting. Chovy is going to be, with the Malignants now finished, going towards a more utility-based role.
That's where the setup in these team fights is going to be huge, right? And that's also where I'm looking at Chovy, because that survivability does allow him to just continuously rotate and land stuns to set up for this Gwen, the Wukong, the Nico, the Jhin.
Force the flash. Toss as well. Again, power the Summoner spellbook. Owner. Acting extra combat summon set the smite for that fight on the top side. But I think it's important we highlight top lane because it feels like as much as Faker right now on the Azir will eventually be that scaling threat. Both these guys feel like facilitators for the main actors of this game that have been Keen and Dorn. These two players with story history of their own, of course. Sometimes putting in the spotlight because you're looking at Faker and Chovy, but obviously a ton of history, a ton of games played against each other in and out of these respective lineups. And somewhere we have to look at game one because this is where the carry threats really were placed in the draft.
Not only the carry threats, but again, it's going to be who is able to set up in a side lane for their team to be able to cross map and be able to set the map.
So pretty even, but like this third dragon fight is going to be really big. Coming from 120, Keen doesn't have flash. All flashes up for T1 by the time the dragon comes. But it'll just be about like, can they find different angles? Can they get good setup? Maybe they just trade it for the Herald, to be honest. If one team doesn't have the setup, they're just going to hard trade on the other side. First tower as well.
As GenG will be able to take down this Herald as that should give them feats, yeah. But it's T1 getting that bot tier 1. Doran might be in some trouble.
Doran, locked up here, counter strike, mitigating some of that damage.
Doran going quite far. Faker TPing in.
Probably just needs to glide out, Canyon.
We've seen that exact play happen with Faker about a million times. It's never actually a pick. Always turns into reinforcements arriving as time Faker TPing in. I think GenG's still going to be happy with getting that summoner, but that bot side play, Chovy not expecting that many resources being paid towards him as Keen.
Okay, Keen, no flash. Yeah, and he just picked. Oh! Almost an absolute tragedy.
Yeah, on the bot side, we see that Doran is going to kind of harass.
Doran's trying to chase away Canyon. Oh my god, it's crazy already. But it is going to be the tower for the dragon. There isn't a team talk today. I've done like we're chatting back and forward all the time, but like not like there's not a meeting today.
Yeah, so much of it is actually in Faker in this mid lane, right? He has about 800 gold, which isn't a massive gold lead, but it's a really solid one, especially for something like the Azir, which is just going to scale so well into the late game. But yeah, all of these side lanes are now opened up, so we'll see how GenG and T1 end up setting up the map.
So still, these kind of mid-game fights, if GenG can get engages from multiple different directions, they can still just like instant wipe the fight, and then the whole game suddenly looks incredibly different. So it's not just quite as simple as this team is better late game. It's like it's always easier to be the front to back team in the late stages of the game because you can play on the mid waves much easier, and therefore you'll give yourself a lot more space. Faker's still too far forward. He is going to get picked, so Carrier's coming, and they're coming across, so they think they can stop this. Carrier does his best to try and interrupt, but does catch Faker, which means the follow-up comes in, and then not enough. Doran on the back line, but he's going to die as well. Whoa. That's massive. They're going to get the side lane tower as well. Okay.
How to deal with T1. I've seen that play run by T1 a million times. Faker is quote-unquote overextended as Canyon does miss the turret.
We need to revoke Canyon's driver's license after that one.
I don't know.
But
I
yeah,
feel like he
was
could.
so
Oh!
that's where
The guys! This is the best team in the world.
That's where you really see the power of this team composition when they are able to set it up. Keen coming in on the backside of this. It all starts with
It's just one wave too many.
getting on to Faker.
Look how close that is. Just on the edge. I feel like she should just flash it though.
Because T1 again is very ready for this play. The only downside is Doran can't actually join the fight until their main damage dealer.
I think Faker should just flash that. I guess he thinks he's gonna live. And then ends up flashing after.
With the Annie and Wukong, or in this case with the Nico, how easy it is for them to play out the rest of the fight because T1 used so many of their resources defensively that when Keen shows up, he's just kind of allowed to run free.
Oh, we're looking at Atacon.
Okay, I didn't see the setup because we lost it, but I guess they just cleared one wave mid, saw Faker bot, and Atakan start. And now they have Chovy on one side, Duro pretending to be Chovy on the other side.
before.
It's just going to be a flip, I
Looks like he
guess.
might just flip it. 3.9K instead.
Doran gets half
Another
HP.
flanker, but now it's T1 going all in onto Keen.
Keen gets low. Nice ult from Faker.
To stop him getting into the midst of the entire
Carrier gets a really nice
alive, and they get the Otacon. Go
thing and really nice ult, and then Atakan, they get it as well.
GenG hungry for blood. They need to get kills back.
Oh, they get one. Okay. They get one. They're going to get this tower. They might get another kill. Yeah, they're going to get another kill. They're trying to get as much as they can. Dragon's going to be up as well. 50 seconds. No, they're not going to get... They might be able to get, like, take this, leg it back, push mid and bot, get position on Dragon, but...
I'm just gonna come in and take this one and really.
Like, Duro's sitting here on the flank, like, they want to try and find this fight, but then they also get pulled up by Doran on this side. Really nice ult from Faker at the right time.
And then yeah.
Carry hits all of them and somehow gets away. I thought he was going to get sliced by the Atakan.
We have seen it happen before with the Varus, obviously, just using his feather pullback. But we'll see what this means for Dragon, because if this leads to soul point for GenG, because I do think, as we can see, they have tempo towards the river here. Still not be the end of the world for them, but the Otacon, the value of those flowers means this game still dead even.
T1 though still behind on the setup as you highlighted. That's what it might mean, conceding the Drake unless they want to risk the fight.
The XP can be massive, but Faker's not necessarily the kind of person to just constantly churn up XP leads. Owner just... They're just... They're fighting on the wave, and he's just, like, in the jungle. Doesn't realize they're all 5 there, I guess. I think he probably... I think he probably thinks there's, like, 3 of them, in which case if they use cooldowns on him, it's probably not worth it. But with 5, they just kill him, and you take those.
Immediately delete you from the map if you are isolated, right? And we saw it right there. That puts GenG now on soul point, and this is a mountain soul, which would be absolutely massive for them.
And normally you see a Jane, you're like, I don't know about the tank damage, but with both a Wukong, Bloodletters on Chovy, as well as a Gwen, even Owner, the tankiest member, I think, on the Rift, is just going to go down in seconds.
Keen playing on the edge there a little bit, testing Doran, see if he can find a bit more of an advantage as Doro waits behind him.
He took his Krugs. That's not okay. Those are his.
You got to earn the title, Krug Lord. You got to keep. He has to keep fighting for him. Can't fight for him once and keep the title. Keen wants it for himself.
A little disappointed.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I will also say that while I really love the spellbook Sejuani, I think one of the downsides is you can see there is normally he would have procced Aftershock. He'd be a bit tankier. You are very squishy.
So still, I mean, GenG favored, of course. Okay. Ruler just dies on mid lane with flash up.
A lot of poignant history there as Faker swoops in to find Ruler on an immobile carry.
And this is the best part of the matchup for us as fans, as spectators, as enthusiasts.
Maybe, you know, with Dragon coming up in 4 minutes and it's Soul and Baron in 130, it's better to just not flash. To be honest.
Trying to wrest control of the mid lane. GenG not going to let it go easily.
Banger, no 3. Yeah, exactly. I'm okay with this as long as it's a 5 games. Like, I'm a T1 fan from a long time, but
there isn't really a lot of opportunity for T1 to try.
Just 5 games is what I want. Top priority 5 games. Second priority T1 winning in game 5.
But because he flashed, it means that any
But I'd rather that than a T1 3-0 or something.
Is going to be way more oppressive. So I do think this is the type of composition we have a lot of threats. So just gunning for Ruler might not be the be-all end-all for T1, but it is, I think, a very costly investment into. Let's be real. Even if you flash there, you end up dying. You have to flash out of the initial shuffle, or just accept your fate.
Doran is in danger.
Take on to Doran, but reinforcements are always on the way.
GenG.
They can protect this wave, but maybe the tower goes down anyway, yeah. Okay. Throws out the exhaust. It's the spellbook exhaust, though.
30 seconds till Baron. We heard it from the analyst desk. The T1 Baron circus may be an angle, but GenG, not a team.
Yeah, their Baron is fast and their secure is good with the feathers.
With the surprise Baron, so still need to be on their toes.
Their Baron damage is also insane this game.
Zaya's coming, like, desperately trying to get the IE, I think, before the Soul fight. If Guma can get IE before Soul fight, and Faker can get Leandries, then maybe it's... I mean, it's fightable if you know where everyone is, no matter what. But with that extra item...
But no TPs for the side of GenG. No flash on their AD carry, although no flash for Guma either. So difficult for GenG to play the entire map
If Guma's flash is going to be back for the dragon fight, I think that's the most important thing. Like, yes, Jin's flash is down, but if Jin dies, it's much less of a big deal because of the front to back. Like, yeah, obviously you still have Faker for the damage, but the point is that Guma's role in the fight is bigger than and more carry oriented than Ruler's, so his flash being down is a bigger deal, and there's more dive, so it's more important for him to live. If he can flash away and ult away from the dive, and Chovy doesn't get a big ult, they can win the fight for sure.
When Haladan finishes, Gumyushi has his Infinity Edge done. Faker approaching third item. 2 items basically done across the board here. Ruler getting close to his IE as well. It's going to be a big spike for him, but obviously as long as that flash isn't available, needs to be very careful.
3 items Guma.
He walks up. As we have now,
I guess they're trying to get Faker his third item. It's still a minute and a half on the dragon.
they could also just trade.
Because of the timing here,
I think getting Mountain Soul is so insanely powerful.
this is going to push out, and then dragon is going to spawn.
Especially against this
So I think Chovy's not pushing this too quickly. He's been up there for a little while because he's trying to push it so that it's annoying timing wise. So he pushes it now with... Oh, I moved the mouse so I can't tell you. Minute left. Okay, they one-shot Chovy. What happened there? Wait. This is... What stops him, what knocks him out of this knockback? Because that means they devote an extra flash and an extra ult to killing him, and now they might lose the back end of the fight. This is... Okay, so they see him on this other ward. So it's not blind.
Definitely a strong point. Ruler tries to find a route. T1 looking to get aggressive.
Knocked up. Knocked backwards, but he hits Owner. Because Owner queues in and hits him mid thing, I think they might lose the back end of this fight. Okay, 3 people. Yeah, and now it's just going to get too chaotic. If Faker dies here, it's over on the backside.
It's a mess across the fight, but it looks like Keen should just be able to chase this one down. Doran take his time, ward over the wall, quick hop to safety.
Yeah, so now it's a 3 for 2. Like, Guma's still up.
Guma needs to make the difference. 3 items on this carry.
Oh, there's just too many traps. He's dead as well.
The pullback, he can't find the angle, and down goes Guma.
Genuinely, that pick, I think, if you don't queue at the same time as Sejuani, and not that you can know this, right? No, there aren't scrims today. Scrims tomorrow. Not that you can know this, but the interrupt, Sejuani's interrupting the Annie being knocked back, cost that fight, I think.
But it ended up failing and backfiring.
And now instead of being able to leverage that Baron, right? GenG, well, are we contesting? Oh, okay, they are going.
Double TP to Baron.
Sometimes you need the circus. GenG, though, appear to be ready for this one.
Extra variance is always good for the team that's behind, and it forces them to back away from the dragon. I mean, they die here, but they stop them doing the TP coming in. Faker's going to die, and then they're going to take Baron. Okay, that should be the end of the game. They should take this, they should take Soul, they should take Baron, and then...
And this is why GenG have been T1's nightmare domestically. They know these teams so well. They read the play like a book. Go towards the dragon. Know that T1 is going to look for a heavy play towards Nash. End up getting him off. T1 might just try again, but this time I don't think they're going to be able to do anything.
Yeah, without the Azir damage, this Baron looks a lot different.
Keria has Smite, is waiting around the pit. He's 3k, he's wandering in, he's looking for the Miracle Steal. Junglers are hating some of their spellbook right now, but GenG have the discipline. They don't knock it low.
When you got Summon Spellbook, you don't have the bigger Smite though, right?
Yeah, that's Mountain Soul to GenG. That's absolutely huge. I will reiterate, I love seeing Keria with unsealed spellbook. It's so unhinged. You know he's looking for that Smite steal.
And when do you need to be ready for the Rakan to come check you?
Exactly.
Because normally you'd put one person there and be happy. Luckily, as Mal mentioned before, GenG are ready for this kind of play.
Like, if you don't a 0, I think he also dies. But you can't know any of this stuff. I'm not saying it like they should do it differently. I'm just saying, like, It's tiny little things in these games actually can make a big difference. And if Annie insta-dies without them having to overextend for it, or use flash, or an extra ult, maybe they win the fight, you know? Maybe they win the fight and turn the game around.
GenG can run amok.
And whoever won that fight was going to win the game, even though GenG were far ahead, right?
You saw them kind of all pivot onto him, and
Probably, at
this
least.
is looking like a really nice setup for GenG now. They should be able to clear out vision.
That's all right, not the exhaust right there. Once normal setup. Wait, it worked.
Briefly. No, now it did not work.
He fell for it.
A little bit bait. Now the retreat. We'll be fine. Body block there. Makes it look easy. The ulti is going to be used by owner. Major tool now missing.
Are you saying you didn't feel the aura from
I
that?
do. Obviously, I feel the aura. But I assume that they have a different relationship.
Well, clearly, owner thought it did as well, because he went for the ult on the call. Which, as far as Sejuani angles go, trying to blade both Wukong and Nico clone, not a great time.
Definitely not. The thing I want to call back to is that previous fight. You brought it up. Guma wasn't in position. This is the big thing. We favored T1 in extended fight, but that hinges on one of these two carries able to freely auto attack. Neither were able to do that in the previous fight. And with Mountain Soul, the Wukong sustained in these scrappy exchanges, it can be really tricky for T1 if they don't get that front attack.
Also, if you kill Chovy, that alone is not enough. If you kill Ruler, that alone is not enough. This isn't the type of combo where you can take out one member and then play off that. You need to actually be able to get good fight angles and make sure that both Faker and Guma can do damage in these extended fights.
Another thing to point out, Keen is going to have his Zonias as well, so that just makes his flanks so much more powerful when GenG are able to set up these team fights how they want.
Definitely can be tricky. There's a poke coming off the side of GenG. There's a secret for Doran trying to match what he can, as well as QSS for Gumyushi to stop some of that upfront CC coming from Doro or from Chovy. But GenG, 4k gold lead, 5k gold lead, Soul. This is their comfort position. This is a team that knows how to choke teams out, regardless of if it's T1 or anyone else. And T1 need to find a way to break this.
So you know T1 are going to go for a Hail Mary in one way or another. There is the armbar for Doran. There's QSS even here for Guma in case that somehow Chovy finds him with the Annie. But GenG, I don't think they feel too pressured. They're probably just going to keep setting up these vision traps and keep fishing for picks like this.
CC. Doran backs away. Continue to scout with the vision as well. This is where the Nikos especially.
No, it's so hard. Because with the soul as well, like, I don't think you even necessarily at this stage win if you just hit one person.
Also, look at how GenG set the map, right? We have these side lanes getting pushed in, where T1 have to respond to that with sending Faker and Doran to go catch them.
Clinical League of Legends. Looking for those incremental advantages. Next time they get a setup, it might be a TP. It might be
2 minutes on Elder. It can still come down to an Elder fight.
To take a risk. Also, Duro, Frozen Heart now finished into the amount of auto attackers on the enemy team. Actually going to get a crazy amount of value from that item. Doran, Faker, Guma, all going to be a little annoyed by that item existing. I think GenG is going to keep playing it slow and steady. Head to sideways, push it out, and then look for someone on T1 to walk in. Now, I don't think T1 are actually going to think that GenG is really doing it, because GenG aren't necessarily as crazy when it comes to these Barons, which is why we've seen the game kind of stall out. I think
They also do Baron much slower.
They're going to have to do more. They're going to have to actually start with this Nash. They say that though, Doran taking a lot of poke, that might be the starting sign.
Taking another chunk. Doesn't have any natural sustain in the kid outside when he's in combat from the Sundering Sky. Thunder's Sky, excuse me, as he's closer now.
Faker's backing though.
Good position. TP coming in from Doran and GenG. Looks like they're going to immediately back off instead, happy to play for the pick, and catches death by 1,000 cuts. They got what they came for. T1 thought it was Baron, but they were just happy with the TP.
Start again. TP used. Full sums basically available here. GenG.
CC onto Doran, instant with the TP.
Started again.
Chovy
TP used.
there. Fake Chovy in the bush.
Available here. GenG.
CC onto Doran.
Oh my god, he's just going to one shot. He just walked into Annie.
He buys an extra moment, and it's Guma and Faker on the backline for now, uncontested, trying to fire back. But the objective in the sights of GenG, keeping the pressure there.
Ults are down though.
And he does.
Back end of the fight can still work.
Walk him out of the pit. Canyon, nice backstep with the clone. The chunks onto both clones, massive, but not the real champions. GenG poking.
Using the mountain shield.
Yeah.
Just waiting for it to regen.
Chovy on the side. They mark him.
Ruler trying to find the
Ooh, a nice snare though.
on a Faker, the flash forward, he
He's
goes
going to
for
ult
the
after
Canyon,
this.
turns this one back. A multi-man push into the waiting arms of Guma. Guma free firing, but Chovy flashes.
Oh, Chovy.
CC, quick QSS, ulti out. The fight is so
No, Guma's dead. Yeah.
Ruler, one more bullet into the ulti.
Very, very close, but the back end just too far ahead.
Quadra for Ruler.
Is that going to be the first game?
That was so close. At Baron, they'll be able to take down this mid tier 2, and I think they might try to push to end here.
Lore accurate Jin right there. Ruler with the quadra. Look at the damage. This man was one of the weak spots on this team coming into MSI. He was the one together with Duro that was most criticized, but his Jin performance in the tournament has been insane.
Incredible stuff from GenG. They got the advantage. They
Yep.
get T1, no quarter, no angle, no way of attack. Back into that one.
Okay.
A fantastic setup from GenG, from a team that knows this
Game 1 done.
It's very easily telegraphed by T1 with that Galio banner. That's what they're going to be looking towards.
I hope it's not a 3-0. So, same sides.
Not been great. He's had a couple of really rough games.
Azir is gone, so the tank junglers are less strong.
Targeting Faker's champion pool. That does mean that the Talia this time around is open.
Yeah, the Talia is up, and then I fully expect
So
GenG
Talia's
to
up.
take that Rumble away, right? That is also still up in the strap for Keen.
Rumble up. Galio's not up, so it's going to be Doran on what? Ornn, I guess.
Yeah, you absolutely can. Owner
And then
is
you still play front to back if you want.
giving him that just gives him license to basically do whatever he wants in the game, whenever he wants. So we'll see if we end up getting that through from Canyon, because otherwise, yeah, that could spell a really nice early rotation for T1.
The question is, they know it, we know it. Xin,
There's what? Xin still, Trundle still.
I don't think such a thing is. Okay. Double solo.
Okay.
We have the Rise, we have the
Rise
Rise,
instantly.
the overall, we got Rumble, one of the strongest top laners.
So they don't, this way they don't, you could take Trundle in a tank, you could take full bot lane, you could take, okay.
Yeah, also Lucian something that they do not want to give over to Ruler specifically, but yeah, we
You
have
just
the
take
Lucian
Lucian
on lane,
Braum instantly.
and we'll see if GenG do decide to round their comp off with with, or their first 3 picks with the Zinja, if they want to.
Okay.
The Canyon Skarner.
Maybe that's also why Canyon has been super consistent on the Skarner. Also one of the few champions that I think recently been able to actually have early game impact on. Obviously with something like Wukong, you're not really expecting that, but he has really stepped it up in terms of early effectiveness, and it specifically with the Rumble makes for some disgusting team fights. If you look at T1, they're all short range. You're at a range over the kill, you are getting toasted.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm glad you brought
Okay.
up the pressure, but also these team fights. So many clutch GenG team fight moments actually have been from Canyon being able to get some insane suppresses off onto the team, and then the Rumble all coming on.
So that Skarner Rumble combo is going to be obnoxious. Lucian Brawlman, they get to double ban, but you ban away junglers here for the side of GenG. You ban what's in and Trundle or something, no? Yeah, there you go.
Wonder what the GenG bot lane is going to go towards. GenG have been picking
Senna and whatever their choice is of next thing you don't want to play Lucian into.
decent amount of engage. You can still run into Braum, you just kind of accept it, and then you can't do too much. But thus far, GenG comp doesn't have too much RTC outside of just that Skarner, unless obviously Chovy is able to get on top of someone. The other is also going to get taken off the board. What does GenG want to go towards here? What are the counter picks going to be? I'm leaning towards an Ornn for Doran here. That has been one of the more consistent counter picks into this Rumble. What is Ornn going towards?
One big thing we have to look at with the Colin with Talia. Pretty effective range advantage outside of that equalizer. Can't keep these champions at arm's reach.
So I'll probably take... Okay, is going to be the Rel.
In the Rel, but of course in the Braum it can be tricky.
Yeah, they're gonna wait to see what T1 end up walking in before they pick Ruler and a bot lane for him to go up against this super strong Lucian. Ooh.
Jarvan, okay. Interesting. Jarvan or one of those, the one like we talked about. You've taken away the Braum as well because you think you might well take Ornn.
This would be obviously comfort for Ruler going way back. I think this is a lot more within
Or Ezreal or Zeri, I think either one you can't really lock down or pressure that much.
Yeah, I think that's why they kind of wanted to wait to see the full composition, right? But Ezreal does deal with a lot of things that T1 kind of wants to throw at the AD carry because he is so slippery, and he does kind of give you some pushback in that bottom lane spot.
Do expect this time around to see Guman carry have a much better time in the 2v2. There's also the power of his Jarvan. When it comes to early ganks, there are a lot of juicy targets on the enemy team. Both Rumble and Rise don't have any way out of EQ combos. So I'm going to kind of see if Owner is going to look to have a very early impact here to try and throw GenG off their game. Because I think we saw in game number 1 as well. If rune setups,
Okay.
we have Keen with the first strike, which is not something we've seen more
Let's get into this one.
Because you are looking at a matchup where you're not really going to be threatened too much. We're usually going for the PTA, not the electrocute as we have seen before. And this turn to carry, obviously, is a spellbook man.
Well, I have just been told that Lord is standing by with Cadril. See first from us. Let's hear what Mark has to say about this particular matchup.
I am indeed with the Rat King here once again. Kajol, tell me about the atmosphere here at MSI. T1 versus any team is always different. How has it been so far?
The crowd is crazy. The noise is insane. Much love to the crowd. Thank you everyone for coming out.
All right, what's your prediction for this series, Kajol? Game 1 was for GenG, but what do you think?
It's looking tough for T1. They really need to win this game. They need to win this game early because they could run out of damage very quick. So I'm hoping T1 wins so we get 5 games.
Do you like the draft? What are we looking at in the early game?
You're going to look at Owner and you're going to look at if Lucian Braum can take over the map. I think Rise having no flash is really important in this game.
All right, Rat King, thank you so much. And Casters, back to you.
Well said, Mr. Cadril, Mr. Ratkin. Thank you, Lord, as well. Of course, Flash is going to be a big deal. Still there for both respective mid laners. Some phase rushers are being traded as these guys go really fast, despite not having boots. But for now, there's some trades.
Okay.
No kills, no 3 camp ganks.
Jarvan just doing one campaign invade.
We do have an early invade.
I guess he EQs over the Dragon Pit. I didn't see it because I was looking at the interview.
When it comes to the pings, whether they spotted this based on Canyon's pathing,
So if they don't know,
maybe not. We'll be able to
this
see it.
he can end up with loads of extra.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't know. So nice little sneak away here from Owner. Gonna be
So
able to-
now Owner's going to reset, run to his top side, clear his top side, and then clear his bottom side probably.
Really nice.
Oh, tragedy.
Well, and on the bright side, while we look away from Canyon's slight embarrassment, Carrier, 149 international games played, passes perks for 5th all time. So shout out, much love to Carrier. Obviously, a ton of milestones this particular MSI, but always good to celebrate when a player has this much tenure. But I'll be celebrating something else here a lot of times. Doro's already but Canyon's going in mid lane. That's a flash over.
Oh, that's a tragedy. You can't die to that because you've already put Skarner behind, and now he's jobless. Like the only thing he can do is look for a crazy invade or a gank. Can't invade anywhere. Owner takes these away anyway, so the only place he would invade is this side. The only camp he would get is 1, but Ornn's there to defend. The only option Canyon has, they know where he is. His only option is to gank mid or to gank top. Like resetting does nothing. So Faker walking up and walking up on that side, so he's in range to be stunned into the wall, is a massive mistake.
So look at this mid lane. It's actually GenG that strike first, attacking Faker after Canyon got invaded, right? It was looking really good setup from T1. Great response from Canyon.
It's a big mistake from Faker as Canyon. Still moaning, by the way.
But that's
That is
huge.
the only thing that he could do, right? Like you're Skarner into J4, you can't invade. All you can do is look for a gank. So the fact that Faker dies, keeps up his flash, is now down to TP. It's a really, really big deal.
And we'll see Owner as he's tapping down towards this bot side. GenG
We'll
is
see if Owner goes for another
defending
invade, but I think Skarner, yeah, he has to just get back here so he gets to his wolves on time for the respawn. Owner will take the last 2 camps.
Jarvan, of course, a lot more immediate target access. Skarner normally a bit slower, but against a flashless champion, it can just be so easy.
Ooh, looking at bot lane though, it looks like Guman and Carry have been able to at least continuously generate that pile that we wanted to see, right? Lucian Braum takes early in the draft. Faker knows that Doro is here.
On it out, and so much attention paid to the mid lane in this game. Joby kind of left on an opportunity game. This time around, they are not letting Faker play whatsoever.
Of all the people in the world, you are giga trolling. You say Faker is a joker.
Yeah, and setting Chovy up in a good position ahead on this Rise is actually also going to be great for GenG. Accelerates kind of one of the scaling options in their composition, as we do see Ezreal now on that bot side. And T1 again, we talked about their early Drake cryo. They're getting it off that bot lane.
Talk about the history of the match as well. You can see Chovy relatively favored. Might not matter. Chovy's gonna get locked up and cut down.
Okay. Let's look at this again. I like it.
So
What actually hits him for the first time? He's used flash already, Chovy.
Composition, as we do see Ezreal now on that bot side, and T1 again. We talked about their early Drake prio. They're getting it off that bot lane.
Yep. Talked about the history of the matchup as well. You can see Chovy relatively favored, but it might not matter in the face.
Oh, just flashy Q. These Braum is so strong in these skirmishes. So even though he's dead, he's going to double stun people. So Keria just spreads the passive around everyone. And a 2-level advantage in top side. Oof, almost kills him.
But he's not going to finish the job. Ruler uses the barrier, but holds on.
I'm pretty sure T1 kept that Drake damage the entire time during that fight as well. Massive value from that Braum coming out from Keria, able to deal with
Braum just in those early skirmishes in River, just so strong. The insta all go. He gets one shot. And yeah, the Rumble ult would normally be really good, but there's not that much follow-up for it yet.
Yeah, and Keen was also, even though he does get the equalizer down, he wasn't exactly in a position to kind of come in and really start roasting people as you'd want from an early Rumble.
Canyon, nice sidestep. Make sure I go to the wall here. Keen's all the way down. So you got to be happy about this fight. Expected Canyon. Not feeling the beat at all. Keen is trying to kill on the Faker. Canyon still managing to get out. The blast over the wall. They're absolutely bamboozled.
What?
Canyon needs a little more chilling.
What?
Oh, are you kidding me? The slimmest margins. Canyon shouldn't be alive, but he's still going. G4 Shatter Strike playing a bit more time. Oh, the flame spirit just keeps coming.
Oh my god, how has that happened?
Yeah, and Keen was also, even though he does get the equalizer down, he wasn't.
They're just contesting this way too early. Like, they don't have push. No, not everyone's here. The EQ in. And then they just miss everything, and Faker went way too close. Nice. Is it going to be a 3-0 this? Miss this, miss that. But you just don't have much damage. But also they're just not ready for this. Like they have to push the waves first. They just got a successful fight. They just got a dragon.
Jungle and support working together, not always on point, but there, Doro showing up just in the nick of time to save his jungler, to find that extra kill, and it's GenG right back in the driver's seat.
And right there, you see as well, Helper, excited about literally every play. He's watching, he's taking notes.
Good cut back up, you know?
Gotta make sure, you know, I can't just let T1 get away with it, and Helper, we have seen even in backstage, really big for the GenG men's win. Really, every single clip. That's just how he is, even at low park.
Yeah, you see GenG has a slight gold lead off of the reset. T1 actually were able to clean up those grubs, which is going to be really good for them, and they're actually only one objective away from claiming feats outright.
Yeah, I don't think the grubs make a huge amount of difference this game, but they are the best team. Well, they always used to be the best team in the world with grubs. I don't know if you can still say that.
Clean up those grubs, which is going to be really good for them, and they're actually only one objective away from claiming feats outright.
Would be an excellent boon to have at this point in the game. It has been neck and neck. Only got a 900 gold lead, 800 now for GenG. Both sides would really love to complete that first item, because I think while we talked about damage potentially running out, we heard from Kato earlier, right now neither side really has enough sustained damage outside the Rumble to win out in these fights. So the Canyon getting kicked off, and it's just now 2, and Ruler's here. Free firing against Andrew. Guma unfazed. Carrying out between
Double ult there.
Ruler happy to have the kill.
And that's the playmaking starter we've come to expect from Canyon. That's why he is so dangerous on this champion, and Guma might be in trouble.
Owner spotted. Dashing through. Mystic shot sidestep. TP on the way down. Owner on the way in. Flash out from Guma. Good Shatter Strike still hits him. Down he goes. Owner's finally here.
It's becoming a tragedy very quickly. And it's like you have to play front to back, but you don't have that much damage.
GenG are that precise team, right? But when it's time to step on the gas, when they know they have advantage, they need to push. When he needs to find a gank, GenG can still do it. They find those plays on the bottom side. T1 are the ones left wondering what the hell is happening.
Yeah, and the big thing is that Chovy is now in such a good position. RD3, 1 and 2 on this rise. Should be able to lock that first item in soon off of the back. Yep, there we go. Roa.
Already got his Roa.
10 minutes and Keen with first strike and pick. If you can get your early spikes, sitting on the biggest goal lead in the game by way 1,000 for this Rumble, courtesy of his own early skirmishes, it snowballs so quickly because it takes right part of the damage that you do. If you have a very early understand, you just farm that again and again and again. And T1, they still have a lot of aggressive power when it comes towards this front to back. Right, there's the Ornn, there is the Jarvan as well, and there is a lot of CC. They can kind of play the way that GenG did in the previous game.
They can, but we'll see how GenG kind of want to set up potentially around this Drake, because I am not sure if T1 are going to want to fight them. But T1's going to start it out.
T1 kicking things off. GenG
Okay. Let's see what they So second dragon, yes, GenG have a gold lead, but I think T1 are stronger at this stage still. The Braum, Lucian combo,
T1 are going to want to fight them, but T1's going to start it out.
T1 kicking things
and
off.
the heart seal is much worse as a first item than
Ruler off on the side seems to be the target. Duro locked up.
Jarvan's. Nice combo.
Excellent block on the ulti coming in from Ruler.
Okay, so the passive just about to stack up. Hits the knockup first, then the passive, then the flick back.
You kind of set that up, Dracos, with the pick potential, right? The Braum to Leah combo coming in clutch.
Canyon might jump over to try and steal.
Doran's on his way.
Ruler still standing. 1500, it's going to be the flip. Chovy potentially
100 Sky though. Chovy's also locked down. Oh, Guma! So, I don't know why they're fighting that, I have to say. 4v5 at this stage of the game, in those kind of fights,
Instead, they overcommit like they did in the first
That's
Drake fight. T1 take the gold lead back, and 2 Drakes to
a
nil.
tragedy.
Started with getting
I'm
that pick,
super
right,
tired. I
in
don't know why.
the
Sorry.
mid lane. T1 able to then make it at a numbers disadvantage, and here we go with the Carrier ult combo on top of the Faker flick. Duro is dead for this, and that is the go button for T1, right? And I was kind of surprised that GenG continued to try to contest this instead of just soft contesting.
Especially with Chovy being Rise, right? Unless you flash, once they get on top of you, you're not going to be able to get an easy way out. There's way too much CC. Maybe looking for a quick exit, but if everyone on GenG is there, you're just going to get burned down. In the early game, a back and forth here as T1. Those 2 Drakes are going to be a big deal as we get towards the mid game.
They certainly are, and you have to be so confident when you go for these fights against the Braum. Carrier has been getting such insane
Flick
passive
back.
value in every single fight because they've just been messy, they've been scrappy, and it's been a super back and forth game. The initial cam steals into the first gank from Canyon, the fight where GenG fumble a bit despite finding that kill, and then they immediately get a fight back, and here we have this just continuing this trend of trading fights, and at this point, neither side with a massive advantage. It is, to your point earlier, just those Drakes, the convenience of being able to set up around the threat of Soul Point as we see the red buff hotly contested.
Now, this is pick T1. The moment they get a slight lead, they feel like they're ahead, they're going to be pushing into your jungle. They're going to be taking your camps, and they're going to be looking for
Yeah, this is what really
they can find.
so what Gumi needs to do, like, just play aggressively on the mid wave, use his one item, Lucian power, Ona interrupts Canyon.
To absolutely stuff this attempt from Canyon.
Ready to body block. Whatever that Scorpion's going to do, I will eat that damage so Guma can free fire. And again, this mid lane matchup is tough because neither side really has too much lifesteal yet. So whoever gets the poke...
Oh, it's double solo lanes, AP solo lane, so Doran's already got Kaenic Rooker. I was like, how is that going so well?
Laning as just Roa with a couple of stacks Rise into a Kaenic Rooker and Ornn. Doran is completely unfazed. And
So Doran, even though he's behind, he's probably fine against both side lanes, but this is probably even better matchup. Because Rise just doesn't have the damage to get through him, to be quite honest.
Want to get to level 13, 14 breakpoint where you can start giving out the items to the rest of your team.
You can already see T1 rotating up, Faker using the TP on this top side, and
Canyon coming down, but Doran just playing weak side well. They're pressuring on top. Gumayushi still pushing in mid. Ona can push really aggressively and deny vision. Guma catches this wave high. They play towards top side, I guess. But maybe they don't want to dive it. Keen does have ult to just clear one wave if he needs to.
Too much damage, and T1 choking the vision out. They don't want to give GenG that easy access.
Double reset coming through.
Yeah, they'll be backing, and reset should be in time just after this Herald spawns. They should be able to get into
But it's got the gates, so
GenG to respond to the push in mid, respond to the push in
you can
bot,
get
right?
out a bit quicker.
Setup from T1, and yeah, they're already on it, pretty much at spawn.
GenG, though, still have the power of a very fed Rumble with the first strike and the Canyon on the Skarner, right? So the only thing I think T1 need to avoid at all costs is just walking into a big multi-man engage from Duro and from Canyon. That could be enough to turn the fight as the TP comes in.
TP from GenG, immediate response coming in from Doran.
Ghost on Braum. Chovy ults away. Ult coming through. Doran, really nice combo. Keen just gets one tapped without being able to do anything.
T1 who are first on pulling the trigger. T1 finding the angle of attack. Chovy Ruler still standing. Double threats. Canyon there to potentially steal.
They're trying to fight again. Objective is gone though. Are they going to kill Ona? Puts the Herald down. Battle Herald. Oh, Doran gets it. No way. The Herald, Battle Herald, and he hits the tower. Big. Big, 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 big.
Even though they were able to get off a beautiful CC combination from Duro and Canyon, T1 clean up the fight. They get the Herald and they get mid-tier 1.
I mean, that's the second time so far this game that GenG are fighting down resources. As in down people, sorry, not down resources. Good Doran here. Flashes over to get the instant ult, followed by E. He's just one shot.
If you look at
Very
how
clean.
that fight ended up being, could have been the turning point. He is so insanely strong, but instead, what happens is he gets blown up, and then even though the GenG front line does a
No, I'm not sure about this fight. Same as the Dragon one. Like, they have Herald to put down to be annoying in the actual fight.
have the damage to cut through these health bars.
And we talked about heroic ultis from
Guma's still full HP, Faker's still half HP. Like, it's not... Yeah, some people are close to death, but it's not like a close fight.
The front line's so difficult to get through. And GenG biting off more
Another fight again. Didn't see the setup. Faker's on a weird angle. Ruler's on the top side. Guma gets the 1v1 him. Always the 1v1s are going to be in favor of Lucian, so if he can isolate him on the side, it's going to be big. Canyon down on the tri-bush.
But T1 not hesitating to risk the flip. Canyon, they don't see him. Faker wall the zone off. Equalizer to start things off, keeping them in the fight. Canyon going over, but who's going to get in the end?
Okay. Oh, nice combo on Ruler. Doran's going to die though. Keen doing so much damage. Owner still had ult. Guma flashes in. Oof. That was close though. Keen did so much more damage there.
Getting lower. Not spotted. Doesn't know. Doesn't know. Goes in, goes right back out. But now the chase. Hex gate. T1 won a little bit more. Canyon running. Flick back, flash.
Okay, flashes the flick. Three dragons. Okay, Lucian ults. Really nice rumble ult. Well, quite a nice rumble ult. Ornalt does still come through, therefore the flick back comes onto Ruler. And he gets basically one shot, but Keen is doing so much here. And this Canyon ult, oh, he only hits 2, I thought he hit 3. And then Flame Spitter just burns them all. And he's going to kill Guma on the back end. And Rumble is so fucking strong, by the way. As a champ.
That soul point, that is 26 kill in 18 minutes. I was really excited to just have a nice chat with you guys. You know, our LCK games, sometimes we have the opportunity for that.
Not today,
not in this game.
Not with T1 in control of the tempo.
Definitely not. And one thing that I will say.
Okay, Rise ult. Guma's going to eat the wall. He's dead here, surely, yeah. Just way too far in mid, and because T1 do that thing of everyone has to go and save whoever's in the fight, it ends up being way too much.
He just is now back in the game off of a really crucial pick from GenG.
Closer to the 2-item spike. Both Chovy and Ruler, tiers fully stacked. Once they get that, it's
and this is the downside of watching it like this, is that I have no idea why he's there. No idea why he's that far forward.
Highlighted it beautifully, Mao, but Baron not on the table. Otacon 20 seconds away, though. Maybe the angle of attack for GenG.
Yeah, the big two things we have to watch out for are that
Hey, so.
the fact that they need to contest T1 on this Hex Tech Soul. You do not want to give
One game in.
team composition,
1.5 games in.
Lucian,
Hopefully. I mean, but
As stroke of irony, as it's Guma that kind of gets caught in a spot where Ruler often has been found. Really good immediate collapse, and you see T1 try and maybe self-defy, but the moment that Doran also gets slammed into the wall, the side the better of it is Ruler knows that they are not out of this game.
okay, Atacam.
Doran trying to get in, ready to blow the horn if he has to. Owner, it's so hard to
The shred. Oh, Doran no E.
Chunked out, still 5K. They can't really afford it. Instead, the turning. GenG collapsing on the flanker of Doran, but here comes
They turn, but now the return. Hit the first target. He just gets knocked up, knocked back. Owner jumps in. He might just die. Woo. The combo. Atakan's still there, just shredding everybody. Yeah, Talia just... I mean, Owner hit like a 4-man EQ there at the backside. I thought he was going to die, and instead he just like knocks them all up.
Stop them from doing what they love, which is fist fighting to the death.
You're going to get the Atakan. Atakan in these high kill games, obviously, even better. GenG still have more flowers. Carrier TPs, so he's going to dump a bunch of wards and maybe reset again. So he's using the TP just to use something, but also just to be... he's ahead of tempo of everyone else, but he's also ahead of tempo of the enemy team, so he's able to actually do that. And now I think he's probably going to try and get at least one base in before the Dragon in 140. So you can just sort of skip a turn for the Vision. The Vision goes down before they get control because he TPs. Then Guma can play on this mid-wave. Because they see Chovy. He's going to probably put his last wards down, 2 more wards. Maybe he's not trying to... Okay, there you go. And base is what I was going to say.
And that means they couldn't get the pick onto Doran, which means the canyon was overextended. I think GenG with a desperation play there, and now again the goal.
So now Carrier coming back out on the map with
have 3 Drakes, and you cannot again.
Full wards, 45 seconds on the Dragon, especially with the Hextech wards. Dura still has 3 though. This is something you don't really ever notice, but they just never get caught with no wards in a crucial situation, which we had as a problem a couple of times, if you remember from last split, where 2 times against, in the final in fact actually, against LR, we lost the game 3, because we played for the Dragon when we didn't have any wards, and we just couldn't find a place to reset, and we should have. So we didn't see Bowser and Nemesis on the flanks, and then we lost. The fact that they haven't worked out the resolution for this is really silly. Because they have in the LEC. When they make it big, it becomes a higher resolution image. Ooh, Faker lining off the mid lane, but they don't quite find a pick. Holding this vision makes it so hard for GenG, because anyone can just get picked off like that. He's still going to get the ult. It's not going to do that much. They reset again. Again, first target is just going to be in trouble. Canyon does get a multi-man. But again, just the EQ into Flick. I mean, Jarvan looks OP here with this Talia.
It's a layered engage from T1. 1 into 2 into 3. Doran followed up by...
Now they finally got on as many plants.
Followed up by Carrier.
What?
Roulette. And stamp out the remaining hopes, I think, of GenG in this game too.
Okay, at least it's not going to be a 3-0.
Drake setup. GenG had no choice but to contest, especially after what I thought could have been a very early wall from Faker, and a bit costly, ended up corralling GenG into a point where immediately T1
Yippee. Have you seen the result?
as he comes around here.
So anyone, like when you're in that situation, like anyone. This is just normal. I slowed it down. Did you see the games? This is times 2. I mean, Owner is making this Jarvan look mega OP.
I don't think that GenG really gets to do a whole lot, but what I want to highlight, it's also in these fights, Keen needs to be on top of people. He doesn't really have a choice, right? He needs to do damage, he needs to actually get value from his kid. But the moment you get even remotely close, you are an immobile carry. Ornn can just, with any of his CC, any of his knockup, especially with the follow-up that's there.
Anyone. Sorry. They can just hit first target. Like anyone who comes close, they just get comboed by Jarvan, flick back. Thanks. Yeah, for us, it starts 2 AM, so not quite so nice.
Yeah, and this is the exact pick I love to see him on, right? Like, he has such an incredible mind for the game. I love seeing him on things like the Talia, where he's able to get into fights very easily, where you can see his control. And I can see T1 kind of doing a very similar thing to their Drake setup, right? Like, they pushed out this bot wave with...
I mean, Jankos is co-streaming it. So it was that his MSI co-streams used to be for... It's just doing that for Vision, by the way. I'm not going to slow this down because I think they just win, right? Yeah. His co-streams used to start at 9 PM and finish at 7 AM. That's why we're only playing the evenings. That's why we're not scrimming every day.
The damage. T1 walk up there, flip back on Kenny, you never play Ken. GenG running, sent packing. GenG when they had the lead, they choked T1 out, but T1 backbreakers in this game.
Oh, it's been a while since I've had to ban someone.
It's a different story on the international stage. T1 won't go quietly, and GenG sent packing here in game 2.
Okay, 1-1. It's going to be a proper... We've got a series on our hands. Okay. Pantheon left open. Scion is the trade, I think. Is that Galio mid? Oh my god, this top side is beefy. But if okay, so this is one of those games where Victor is either going to look like the most broken thing in the game, or he's going to look useless. If he gets ahead of the curve against this like triple frontline thing, he can just absolutely murder them all. But if he falls behind, he's going to look useless.
team fight combo. Not necessarily always about the front to back, but definitely wants to leverage the CC of the Zin, the Scion, the Victor can bring to bear.
A bot's coming to your chat more, I feel like. When I was first starting, I was getting more bots. Maybe it's because I've gradually banned a bunch of bot names.
They do need to be careful unless Chovy goes for the build. Pretty sure Shank's going to him the full AD Galio build. If they fall behind in mid-game, this complex damage. Late game, you're obviously fine with the Senna, the Pantheon. We would
Okay.
serious damage. As, oh, no, this Sky's baiting.
Yeah.
Guys, is he baiting? Mao?
He will. There we go.
Oh! The timer's up is actually up in part. Okay, that's still hype. Everything is hype. Okay. Every hover was good.
The fight would have been kind of insane just because that was his pick, right? On which he eliminated GenG from last year's Worlds. But it is a Bard coming through. This should be great. Once Carrier gets on the map with this Bard, he is phenomenal on it.
We need to see Canyon run the early game. The silent pressure from GenG needs to be great because I think that when it comes to actual even number fights, I don't think they're going to have the best time. I think there's a lot more power for T1. There's also the fact that both Senna and the Pantheon can really struggle into the Bard because they don't have an easy way of getting out of that ultimate. And for T1, when it comes to particularly that Xin Zhao MF combo, your early skirmishes are so dangerous.
I mean, if Senna dies, it's just the
Last time was that they did have that pushing bot lane, right? Bot lane
four
is
beefy
power for
boys
GenG and Carrier. It's a
left.
staple of this T1 team's success. We see it here again where they should have complete control over the
Normally, you really
can come in super handy to see the lane assignment.
for the side of Thorn. And set up to kind of do the same thing here and just try to outvalue.
Now a team. Prospect would inf- Senna
Oh
has-
no. If there's pauses and stuff, it means it's more likely to just be a 3-1.
Underdogs, I think, safe to say. So
When it comes to crowd, every time.
Exactly. And if the girl leaves, it's just like,
dodged a Q. The crowd went wild.
this is going to be a weird team fight.
Barrage of stats record when either of these teams play on stage
Faker passing 1,000 and kills at international events though. That's just like no one's ever gonna.
against Chovy. Yeah, it's
You know how when you see like a natural phenomenon too big to really comprehend what you're witnessing? Like that's too big
It's
enough.
insane.
my man's got the spreadsheet out, farming up. You know, he's done all the math.
He made sure he hit it.
Stardew
in that
Valley
game.
levels of aura farming right here.
Owner has, I'm with you.
Does have aura.
This is, as we expect, the early pressure here towards his bot lane. Guma and Carry are going to be fighting as much as they can. The only other thing I want to know is that Faker to go for Gross, which we see a lot of Victor in melee matchups, ensuring that he will be able to farm up as much as possible, basically for free, of the Galio, who without having help in the lane, shouldn't really be able to do too much against it.
Okay.
At this point, Bard level 1 obviously notoriously oppressive, has access to the cosmic binding and the passive.
This Pantheon Galio combo, though, if they get it behind bot lane or anything like that, it can be a nightmare.
Carry pack and heal is the initial spell on that summoner spellbook.
And yeah, they should be able to easily take control over the lane. Basically, for Ruler, he is going to be at least trying to get XP, trying to get soul farming started as quickly as possible. But this lane is a very, very rough time for the Senna
Yeah,
Alistar.
he's sitting at 3 minutes. And stack up is not going well. Should be able to pick up at least a little, but also did feel like he just missed a lot. Not necessarily because of the crashing the turret just early on. It's not the best start there for the Senna. As we also, both junglers were spotted on their Raptors. So GenG bot lane, or the GenG bot lane knows that owner's on their way and they won't get help. And T1 also knows that. I don't know if they spotted each other's wards. I think that at least the GenG one, or one of GenG's Raptors was spotted. And Key getting sign low is nice. But
And it's the grasp still for Faker, even though it's been nerfed, I think.
Chovy losing end of the early trades here. Victor really solid against these melee options. Galio brings a lot to the team composition, but the early lane can be really tricky. Just the Q trading on the side and power, giving you that additional shielding, that additional movement speed to the upgrade. It's just miserable to play against.
And this is again everything T1 composition wants, right? As we see this bot lane not letting up on
Because it is going to be the roller and stuff like that, I'm assuming. Roller Leandries, and like I said, if Victor gets to that point without being too far behind, he can look so broken, I think, in these kind of drafts.
Spotted as well, right? We want to see a lot of impact.
But he can also look completely useless.
With full pressure mid lane, full pressure bot lane as well. He's losing chunks of the jungle. He's going to be at risk if he moves into bot lane or bot side of the river line without knowing where owner is.
Lane phases outside of Keen are looking too hot for now. It's Guma.
Guma locked up.
Guma?
Nice little trade there coming from GenG. Carrier, level 4, getting that extra chime XP in. Really making a difference.
Big combo found
No, I haven't seen any patch changes. I need to know what patch we're playing on, actually.
Makes it a lot easier later on to get a possible play onto Guma, as I think we do see the pings going down right now on the Krugs. So we do know that Xin Zhao is in that area and Keen should be fine here, but still, Doran
Oh.
and the counter pressure kind of both lanes going one way early, and then in the extended play, go the other. Never take that. But
Why are they not touching Pantheon?
Ooh, Faker with a nice wave position here. Chovy trying to get this one in. Might need a bit of support to come over from Canyon.
I mean, Pantheon in general is like the highest prior pick in the game at the moment.
And you already see they have set up to at least track, right? They do have wards in addition to the T1 wards that already placed.
Oh my goodness.
Owner does decide to go for this
I actually felt like I slept okay, but suddenly, as soon as I turned on the stream, I was like, oh my god, I'm so tired. Yeah, there's sometimes things around that in the patch notes. They're just like, okay, why is there not this champ?
Very ready to posture forward here. Recognize that owner has started the Drake. Knows he has a few extra seconds. Wants to maximize. Wants to get every soul he possibly can. T1 right on cue. Best.
Right.
Chovy just as much. Pawn now bringing him out. He's trying to zoom.
Is it more like a solo queue patch?
Ready to try and flip it. Faker looking to zone him away. Canyon would have to commit the flash.
Yeah, no. They can,
They are going to get the early dragon.
yes, they once again start this early Drake stacking.
They give up some stuff in top lane and they just ult back there.
Wouldn't have been able to join the fight. Obviously, Doran was already there. Keen got a little bit out of it. He was able to push it away towards top. And it really is more when you're actually set up at an objective or finding out key targets. So they need to get some vision. Canyon gonna get spotted.
Canyon gets jumped on. But Galio coming. Galio gets interrupted. Sin just going to get out.
There's GenG trying to make use of both. Stay in the fight and the Galio ultimate. The first global not working out for them.
Not working out, but it does give, in addition to the fact that T1 all had to rotate up for this Drake take, right, a tiny bit of reprieve in this bot side where Ruler will be able to go back.
There's also the owner, Guma, and Carrier Flash being invested. That's a lot of really big summoners. Might end up being big in the follow-up fight, or possibly GenG could be looking again. The ability to find a single tower, even multiple CC and blow them up in seconds, is what I think this comp is going to rely on. Anything that's for Grubs, though. I think if you're also giving up Grubs with your at least 1-4 comp, we will try and really maintain some silent pressure. Will be quite rough. T1, not going to give that one up for free, I'm pretty sure. But Doro has been able to get to that pit, depth of vision.
Till 20 minutes. Yeah, that's why I'm just leaving it on ×2 even when fights almost start.
The average for the tournament thus far, he's on 18 now, so a little little bit behind the clock at this moment, but should be able to get some back. The downside is that's kind of just the silver lining on the cloud that is T1 taking control of all of these objectives. GenG, they have tools to go wherever they want to.
I still want to see it, just in case there's anything I want to bring to the team and stuff like that. That's weird. That's a weird play. Doran just moving around a lot. They're going to swap and run to bot lane and just use people just using MF speed to just run to lanes.
Now I'm wondering whether GenG will call that work, because they lost 3 grubs. They do get, obviously, a decent amount of time towards top side of the map, but all they got was Keen just hammering away the turret for a little bit. This is a Kasante, so it's not really going to do nearly as much. He does farm out a small lead.
But it's Keen Sanse though,
Based
so...
on the position of T1, if Carrier hadn't had to save Guma there with that ultimate, I think they would have looked for a dive, because they were actually posturing out with 4 people as Jovi 1v2ing.
Carrier. I'm gonna be honest, he's not coming in a portal to the wall. If Vigor's full man, like maybe you believe it, but he's just there to be annoying. Throw on the other hand.
That was a really nice recognition of how he could punk through
I find it really hard to judge these kind of GenG comps.
really big success for T1.
In some metas, this is like mega OP.
Always try to reach for that little bit extra, and if you get to them for free, they fall behind so damn quickly. Keen, knowing he's stronger in the 1v1, has the Sheen. Ulti there, but Doran happy to just trade back and survive. However, it's going to make his reset that much more difficult. Maybe you need to use the TP to come back to lanes. We see Chogi and Faker continue to trade in the mid lane.
We saw Jovi also roaming out towards
Not a big fan of the MF. I would have preferred a
could have been a kill angle, but with Doran also having flash, maybe not
more a better front to back
There, Neuro stepping up again. They content to just farm.
AD, but I don't know if there was one available. Obviously, something like Varus is Giga OP against all the tanks.
Jovi also has equalized most of the goal, right? The lead has been mitigated. Ever since he got his Spectre's Cow, the trades haven't been nearly as fake or favored.
TV topside, it is just scary. That's hard. That's hard.
Beefcakes with wet noodles.
That even sound like that.
Yeah. It sounds like a lie. It sounds like a lie. It's all owl.
It needs to be infuriating.
It does need
That's what it
to
needs
be
to be.
Insulting, yeah.
Yeah, we need to hit the wholesome version of the Korean Lysandra voice, you know? Needs to be very loud, needs to be omnipresent. Keen,
Yeah.
hoping his jungler's omnipresent, because he's going to be in trouble now. Portal through the wall. Becomes lightning, just barely sidestepped, and Keen forced to back away as T1 stepped around at least one play here. Might be able to get the TP out of Keen. Don't know if he's confident to step into this one. We'll have access to the pack maker. Again, T1 quick to take that play because of the earlier grubs, because of that early objective control.
Yeah, he's going to be able to take that. Meanwhile, Canyon is on this Drake on the bot side. Doran is going to kind of scout that out, but not really going to be able to do anything to contest. So good from GenG to recognize again. This is a window to
1 for
get
1.
onto that Drake, and also good use of their pressure from T1 on the top
On
side.
Dragons.
This MF, the way I separate like good MF teams from bad MF teams is you need to use her and rotate her around to do target damage, right? And that was a perfect example of how they used her pressure well.
That's a good point. So much flat AD, so much additional movement speed. Those are the areas where you are favored. See if T1 also can back it up with the team fight side of his team. Seems pretty unconcerned here on the top side of the map. Mountain Soul would be big for either line of this 1-to-1 Drake. So many tanky members.
And even though it wasn't used, I think a large part there was Chovy actually, as Keen TP back, he's a Kasante, so obviously he can stall, but both Duro as well as Chovy were already rotating towards top, and obviously if you overextend into a Galio, you just die. But then immediately, as soon as it was clear that Keen wasn't any threat, he rotated towards
Average tennis souls is 51. 20 minutes. That doesn't seem like that much. Even obviously with the farming version.
Relatively unperturbed, although Owner has now matched him on the reset. Both very close to finishing off jungle item. Duro continuing to roam around looking for these picks. Hats off for the Swifties. Really wants to be able to get on top of those key targets. You can understand why.
So 13 minutes, he's at 29.
Ghost. He's got Locket now as well. It'll be a tough target to lock down. He continues to step up, and Cosmic Binding, for those who haven't played Bard, I think Azale's described it as the dumbest hitbox in the game. When I talked to him about it, this was 2 years ago, so maybe he feels differently now. But if you hit the first half, you're hitting the second half.
Also, Ruler's sitting at 30 stacks, so even though he, I think, will be slightly behind the curve, right, we're always looking at around 60, around 20-minute mark, I think he'll be a little bit below that, given how rough it was, as it actually is 51.7 stacks average thus far at MSI, and I think he's on track to hit that.
So you want to be like your insurance policy for a composition that would otherwise feel pretty mid-game focused when you have this Galio Pantheon. Of course, Kasante can scale very well in the late game, even if it is sometimes difficult if he doesn't have that flanking angle. But having Ruler as an insurance policy feels pretty good based on what we saw game 1 on that gen.
Especially since, again, T1 have like the tiniest of gold leads, but they haven't been able to have the same early impact that they did around their pressure lanes earlier in the game. So for this world, though,
Someone better start getting some kills, otherwise I'm gonna
They know that Global's alright, so both Pantheon
just keep watching and waiting and hoping for some kills. I've been told 5 more minutes.
control the area, and Pantheon maybe looking towards playing bot Canyon. On his way, I think there's still a ward on Krugs. Should spot him, and maybe that is what prompts
And if it's not that, then everyone can blame Soul.
Engaged on the bottom side, but giving an opportunity now for GenG to move in and clear out some of this vision.
This is my LCK. We are 0-0, 15 minutes in.
Heck yeah, we are.
How do you guys do it? How's life? Good.
I'm doing alright. We have a fun series going on, you know?
That's good.
I'm having a good time.
We have the time, so we should check in.
Yeah.
Crowd doing well?
Okay, nice.
Maybe
Crowd
one
very
action,
good.
which I do respect.
We might get some.
No,
here at the
we're
start,
all
maybe.
sitting here. You might as well put monocles on us. We're all thinking, we're all enjoying like a beautiful game of chess. You know?
Yes.
I think you two would both look great with mononcles,
Thank you.
for the record.
Okay, I don't know about
No?
that. We need a
You did the mustache last year, but you're
Yeah,
on
let's
Willis.
throw one blood. Never mind. No blood. Throw back away. Okay, I might be a little bit eager for action. Let's put it in premature.
I don't think I'm
Okay,
going
all right. It's gonna be slower. It's a bit more calm, a bit more. Looking at the Pantheon Galio, you kind of want more, but at the same time, you have rules. Very comfortable with farm.
So, T1 definitely is going to be sad about that, though. Owner in team fights, I think, has been the standout. Both his ability to split up fights and create space for his carries, or simultaneously being a very big backline threat, something that T1 have relied on for a very long time, to the point where we saw specific counter picks come out just to try and mitigate the impact of this man hat. Canyon pulling out things like from real deep cuts. I think it was Kha'Zix last year in spring, just to try to have something going as still no action.
Is it going to be just Herald for next Dragon trade?
One thing we'll take the others. Dragon has now spawned. Team will be first on that objective, but GenG might have something to say about it.
Yeah, they have tools to get on this Drake if they want to.
Also, Carrier, despite the capacity to take Smite, is still very bad at finishing objectives from.
That bar damage.
Really, I think, hasn't beat there. And he doesn't even need Smite.
It's true. So.
Don't even get the trade.
You can see that it's been a thrilling 1v1 in the jungle. The strongest.
Did you go to uni? Yeah, I did. I did an undergrad and a master's degree.
No.
No,
The master's was in film and story structure, or film narrative structure.
There will be blood against
That's what I called it by the end.
But Doran's gonna get some nice damage on this top tier one, right?
They can crumble.
Yeah, exactly.
Top lane,
He's gonna get first turn.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, come on. That's how I just like that much. He's doing great. Pushing out this wave. I love
It's
minion
good
design.
fun.
Come on, guys.
I think this is one of those games where you can understand both.
That's my backup safe career. I can go and be a film director.
I think the team fighting has
If
been
esports doesn't pan out,
of rough situations in late games. They have
go into something that's more like guaranteed, you know?
We're just gonna be able to everyone standing behind his army of stalwart defenders, Canyon and Jovi. On the flip side, we have Faker with this Victor, and then also the Cyan, who obviously eventually in the late game just is a complete menace. It does mean though that because both teams feel like they cannot do anything, they're not doing anything.
I mean, it's like nice double tap, and then Senna just heals it back off, and it's like that was the interaction.
Anticipation. This is how it works.
This is great. I'm glad you guys are really getting the authentic LCK experience.
I was gonna say something really inappropriate. I'm not going to. Let's go. People imagine
Yeah,
what
well,
it
okay, all right.
I mean, this is
All right, you're out of control. This is what it does.
is. This is how it works.
not what I like about League of Legends, to be quite honest. I know that's not what you're supposed to say as a coach, but it's also not interesting macro.
Because of the globals, T1 also doesn't feel incentivized to go for fights unless they are actually 5v5. Because who is this better for? Wow, no, that depends on
No, it depends on the first fight. And also, like, this
When Victor gets Leandries,
right, we're only at 45. It's below
They
average.
put up the team fight UI as a
Over the
optimistic.
wall.
Blue buff? No.
Blue buff there. Chovy looking for the engage. Carry ready to disrupt the game. That's a 2-man, the only thing for Ruguma. Make ready to miss. Double flash out.
And also,
okay,
this- yeah,
let's
this
go
is
for normal speed for an actual fight.
good.
Right, we're only at 45. It's below average.
They put up the team fight UI as a
Ruguma over the
optimistic.
wall.
Blue buff? No.
Blue buff there. Chovy looking for the
Chovy
engage.
goes
Carry ready to
forward.
disrupt if he can, but they may have just been able to-
Really nice Bardo.
The ulti's already coming over Ruguma. Faker ready to get in the midst. Double flash out.
Oh, but they don't quite. No, don't turn back in there. What the fuck are you doing?
Chovy gets the first blood.
Mayhem for a blue buff. Not what I saw coming. First blood.
That almost was insanely good for T1. I think if Faker's follow-up is a little bit quicker on that Bardo,
The punch that GenG was looking for.
Herald dropped. Surely now.
I mean, it fucking changes nothing, but
Surely all of
someone
those
died at
cooldowns-
least.
No, it's just one kill. All right, here we are. The tension
Got your one kill, right?
continues to grow.
We got some
Chovy.
damage on mid tier 1.
Yep.
Like this Bardo, if Faker's closer, Faker just TPs now. If Faker's a bit closer, this is, I think, insane. That if Faker's already here to like W underneath them, and now they just already leave. But I don't know why Doran runs in when everyone else is leaving.
Champion. The little bit of trading on the bottom side did matter.
Actually did. Yeah, that's my bad. And I want to go back to your question, Dracos, which with this composition, it really depends when you're talking. I think if you're talking once Faker finishes like a death cap, right, once he has void stuff like the free 4 item point, I think T1 is going to be feeling great in these fights because they have a front line that's extremely hard to get through. They have really good pick potential with the Bard and also with Owner being able to get into the back line. But
Yeah.
Ruler reaches
Yeah,
like
that's what I'm a little bit worried
100
about.
plus 120 stacks.
Yeah.
I think that Senna, with the comp that GenG has, just doesn't die. Because I want you to, again, look at how much CC, disengage, peel, and protection there is to set up the Senna to succeed.
It's
Yeah.
definitely a threat, a force to be reckoned with.
It's a
But,
hypothetical.
what happens? You're like third, fourth item. Now he's on 2. Emily, what are we doing until then? Is it just as simple as objective contesting? Look, Otacon is up. We're a few minutes away from Baron. 45 seconds on the Drake. It would be soul point for GenG. Surely we
Then you're
have
gonna
to
do
fist
Otacon,
fight.
and then
Yeah.
we go 2 and 2 in Drakes.
Then you just trade.
Just trade.
This stalemate can go on for a very long time.
And you know what's going to happen? We're going to get one team fight, 35 minutes.
It was hype, really.
I've seen both these teams do it. I've seen T1 do it.
I would just be switched off.
Games where I'm like, oh, I don't know about T1. And then they win one fight, it's a clean ace, game done. GenG have a habit of this.
You have to put effort in to pay attention to this.
Here we go, the higher stake gets on these fights. You can see the vision beautifully highlighted by the observers. GenG trying to take mid prio first, but T1 happy to play for that little bit of chip damage. Again, these small advantages before fights really.
Now he's got Leandries, Faker. He's starting to be strong. When he gets level 16 and he gets the ult upgrade.
Poke from having much of an impact.
Rude doesn't have his flash available. That's
Canyon
actually a
looking
big
for
cool.
Yeah, I saw it.
potential
Don't
flank,
worry.
even though he will be
I didn't
spotted
see the
on
interview,
vision
but I saw that it
very
was there.
easily.
Furiously pinged out. T1 ready for the ulti if it does come down. Carry has to be a bit careful here.
Getting
They does
rush
have
control.
Celestial opposition. Keen just barely not going to get hit by that decimating smash. And GenG really unafraid.
Taking control of the river. And T1, they do actually need to fight this. If GenG goes for Otacon, you can trade, but you can't afford to give them soul point. It's early into the game. Ruler close to 60 stacks as well.
Also just baseline individual mountain soul or mountain drake value is so high for GenG.
It is.
And again, none of that poke sticking. You can see Ruler just keeping Chovy topped up. Nice
Elixir of
back
Iron.
step.
Used by Doran.
Ready for the fight. T1 know how important this is. They're willing to give 500 gold in the back pocket of Doran. Just have that extra little bit of power in the fight. Trying to take control. Careful about walking into the choke point. Eyes on Guma.
Okay,
All
nice
key
stun.
here. Excellent interrupt from carrier to stop Chovy from getting that taunted, and now they're stepping
Okay,
forward.
big,
Ult
big, big,
taps
big.
follow, and now there's gonna be no way out for Ruler. He doesn't have anything left. There's
But again, where's the follow-up?
Ruler lives.
Not enough follow-up.
Breaks out. Keen in the midst of the entire team. The Cassante ready to pop off. Guma can't get any
Where was the Victor W and stuff like that?
Weather the storm of T1. Ruler stays standing, and Faker and Guma
And it's just like,
to turn the
it's like if you ever played WoW, you know, you sometimes get phases of bosses that are just like a DPS check.
On the back half of that fight, Duro with the Alistar coming up clutch, right? Really stymies Gumayushi, and he's unable to get that like really fat MFO across.
The bodyguards do their job. Because despite
Like, where's the? Is it down? Okay, it is down.
available there as
You just need to fake a W and fake a ult across that as well.
it's just the canyon ult. He's not ready for
Okay, I mean they just.
Pantheon Galio combo.
But now it's like, because this is the problem when you play super slow like this. Like now that's just the end of the game probably. Like okay. Now it's done.
Maybe force back, but GenG giving that respect, and yeah, wow, I think he nailed it. That single fight feels like has put GenG in firm control of the game. It's on T1 to try to outplay or find a unique angle to get at this.
This game's kind of a microcosm for what we've seen all series, right? When one team is able to set the map in their favor, it then becomes, because they know each other so well, really difficult for the other team to be able to counter. We saw it in the last game where T1 would just attack anytime GenG would try to contest for anything. They really punished them hard for it.
Well.
Now GenG have the potential to just really set up the map how they want, continue to get this Senna kind of scaling infinitely, and be able to force T1 to face check them when it comes to objectives.
68 souls now. 27 minutes.
To a third item, maybe with that damage starts to get a little bit stronger.
And he needs to go towards what I imagine will be a void stuff, because he needs a form of shred, because otherwise you're not going to get through GenG already, but let alone when they're able to actually get this Mount Soul. And I'm telling you, Mount Soul Cassante, particularly on Keen, that's not something that's going to be fun to play into. And again, to me, the fact that GenG have 2 semi-globals, I think, is such a big deterrent for T1. Not trying to go aggro this game the way we've seen them basically any other game in the series, right? Even though it did work in game 1, they were still really aggressively trying to set that pace. I think they have to whip the guard in the Zinzao, but if you make one misstep into this into this Galio, as we could see, game becomes so hard to play.
I did, yeah, on
The game from Pantheon in general was so quiet early on because of the lane prio that T1 put together in draft, because of Gumayushi and Carry, and Faker really all having that push out.
Schedule of what?
Managed to find the angle. Did take a bit of time, but now they got that fight. Very much favored in gold. You can see a little bit of vision in the icon pit, also making sure they feel comfortable that T1 isn't going for some kind of crazy.
Oh, this coach talk thing. Yeah, that's from. I was doing that last year. So I did, yeah, Pad, Mac, a bunch of other people. I'm leaving that up because I might at some point do a season 2 of it, but you can find them all on my channel. Let me find the playlist. So yeah, Hamar, Mac, Edward. It's good fun. Podcast, coach talk.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, it's true.
So you need a flank from what Owner or Doran to somehow get on top of this Senna.
T1 now posturing around Icon at the very least. They've done their diligence on clearing vision out of the pit, even if there's that stray ward over the wall.
How do I share the
T1 maybe
podcast?
just get that teleport out and playing for the small advantages, but also it's T1, so maybe instead.
Oh, who knows?
they're
I'm
going
gonna
for
just
all
share
the
the
TP coming in
first
from
one.
Keen. Ulti from Carrier. The combo potential, but we have to keep our eye on. But Keen doesn't want to give him the space to set up. Doran trying to respond. Flash out of the gravity field. Carrier going back over the wall. Kenny trying to zone away as best he can as Doran gets a health bar chunk, but not too much effective damage.
I mean, is it just?
Again, if Ruler continuing to heal, continuing to pop up GenG in the extended fight. It looks like it might be the 50-50. Guma waiting
I
over
think
the
it's just going to be over.
ultimate. Owner in the midst
The
of
shred is a good chance,
Yes, they do. It's on Icon down. A beautiful ult. Carrier and Owner together securing the objective.
but on the back end of the fight, I think we just lose. Yeah, and that's going to be Baron.
That was such a long stall, so GenG looks like they're going to go for the Baron instead, but maybe can turn this even into a soul as well.
We see T1 are already heading over there, right? Carrier is already heading over to the Drake hit. Keen is kind of following, shadowing Owner down.
I'll delete it to avoid confusion.
Next fight.
Here we go.
Throw ready for the follow-up. Carrier trying to go in. Ulti coming in for Guma though. He likes when he tries to knock him down, but he goes Canyon right in the nick of time. Descending from the skies, denying T1.
Canyon immediately recognizing that he needs to drop directly into that backline. That is Mountain Soul now. It is Baron. This game is looking really tough for T1.
And despite that fight towards Otacon, the play with Carrier taking out the enemy jungler, Owner being able to secure the smite, the stalling from GenG was the big factor there. The fact that Senna kept him top, and that even though the objective went down, I mean, GenG are going to take the trade any day of the week.
GenG, the masters of these wars.
Okay,
Flankers was obviously not ideal to get the Icon
bit of a tragedy.
The advantage is theirs and push it to the fullest extent. Hey, Goldie, Baron power play. Yeah, Carrier can stop it back here, but there's no threat.
Bit of a tragedy game. I mean, I'm just going to skip through this, right? Like, this is a boring, mega boring game.
Every champion in this competition has the ability to dive either Faker or Guma on the backline of a fight.
Set up portal there. GenG ready. Doss there, he's unstoppable. Just use the Pathmaker. Decent damage, but again, ulti over the top of Ruler.
They just don't do the damage. Even getting for the Mountain Shield alone.
I think the Senna of all carries was probably the best choice.
Faker barely living
And it's
up to
10k
the
down.
You're absolutely right.
Not today.
T1
So much damage.
now 4 items for him. T1 1 2v1 against the team. As long as that inhibitor doesn't fall,
Yeah, they're just gonna
test the next objective.
win this last fight.
Trading blows, tries to make way out of the taunt. Doro on the way to the mid lane. Finds the lock up and
Yeah, it's hopeless. Yeah, I'd love to.
Backline access we were talking about. with this proposition.
I'd love to, if I do coach talk again, I'm going to ask Cage if he wants to come on it. That's for sure.
Single fight is all they need to turn this game into not a lot of opportunities for T1. The T1 gonna have to watch their Nexus falls as GenG go up 2-1.
Locked up, knocks down, GenG slow, controlled, confident, move on to match point.
Love the little cheeky Samsung flash from Ruler at the Nexus. That was fun.
2017,
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we talked a lot, we shot
Strong and a flex pick.
incredibly clutch champion we saw used in a lot of different series, whether by Canyon or Keen, to find those incredible knockbacks, to find those clutch by angles. But you said yourself, right? I think all the Calista mains of the world praying that Ruler can show us. Just one, somebody prove why this
Okay.
one more Calista. It's a Prio, just one more.
They get the Callista and they already get
Doesn't really interact super well with
the Poppy as well.
the slam into the wall, or the ulti, and the W set that presence will not stop his ulti. Now paired alongside Faker's Orianna, some powerful picks for T1.
And hopefully that cheer for Faker's Orianna came across again. This is one of his absolute signature picks, something he's super comfortable on, something we've seen him have success with at this very tournament already. And then there's a Renata coming in.
It's the Orianna Nocturne
That's
combo.
right, if you're trying to dive in potentially with this Nocturne Orianna combo, Renata all deals with that very, very well.
And we get
Calista.
the at least he has dropped the cryo, but still very strong in 2v2 as well into the Renata as well. Wonder if we're gonna see like Akali, Silas, those type of
Well, I hope it loses and then we can get game 5.
If you can get to 6, you ever get an Orianna, she just
But I'm a little bit nervous that it doesn't.
play the game. The other option is if GenG is willing to be a bit more creative. There is already so much
Still.
diversity, they basically are gonna have to go in. You can look towards things like the swing.
Game 2 was
We have seen actually used into these style of compositions.
very T1-sided, so you never know.
Shout out to that baby!
Woo! Glad that baby has headphones in this crowd.
That's good parenting. Shout out to you guys, parents of said child. That was a big Simba moment for us here in Vancouver.
The Pike respect ban coming out from GenG. They do not want to deal with Keria on that pick. Again, Keria he not only has such a wide champion pool, but he excels on these things where he can get out on the map and really cause havoc as well as place down vision. The Aurora ban coming through against Chovy.
Just limiting some of the tools he has to kick fights off. Don't want to give him that much mobility against the Nocturne too, Ken. Good timing, obviously, can mitigate so much of that.
Honestly, I think Callista is just a bad champion. I think the numbers are just way too low. They keep nerfing it because they want it to be like... against people who are good Callista players, it's still something that you need to ban, even when it has like a 40% win rate in solo queue. But I think the numbers are just too low. That's why I think Callista is bad this tournament. She just does not enough damage. She doesn't take over lanes in the same way that she used to, and people are better at not letting you take over lanes. And then there's so much dive that you can just insta-jump on her normally. So it's currently a 0% win rate, but let's see if Ruler can give it its first win. It's one of the highest prio picks in the tournament. So not presence, because it hyper values bans, obviously. Oh, Canyon Z.
He's on face, of course we face, because it's Zed on an international stage at match point. And the Poppy, fantastic. The Gragas, remember last year was kind of the breakout pick of the tournament. It was Zeus bringing it out. Zeus shut down GenG, and now the Poppy back versus the Gragas. But most importantly, it's that jungle matchup. All eyes are going to be on Canyon. And game number 3 was an LCK Classic. It was an acquired taste.
So Zed's going to be really fast early on.
Right, we have a jungle matchup that is heavily snowballed. We're going to have Canyon trying to farm for Storm. We have an incredibly strong pick composition from GenG with crazy all-in power. When it comes to the laning phase, I think T1 are going to be feeling great, particularly towards bot, as well as towards the epic fake from Orianna.
Yeah, that bot prio lane is still sticking out in my mind as it always kind of does, but like because it's T1, right? Especially if you are able to get carry on the map, especially if you are able to dictate the pace of those lane assignments if you want to end up swapping for prio over objectives. But then where I really think the game is going to explode is in the early to mid game, right? We get both of these junglers to 6, we get the Orianna shockwave up, we get just, there's so much explosive potential in both of these team comps in these early to mid skirmishes.
Let's see. Can it be game 5? Don't look at the bar along the bottom. Okay.
Level 1. Observers. Nocturne base stats are pretty strong. Zed level 1 is not great. You have the passive if you proc on multiple people, but you can see Canyon already backing away. I think GenG don't want the straight up 5v5 level 1.
Karma.
In the darkness, play for one of these picks. And this Gragas for Doran.
Strong lane bully can kind of neutralize, I think, the Callista Renata.
Did Doran deserve a finals MVP in spring 2023 for his performance on this champion specifically?
That was so long ago.
No, I'm serious.
So I do think GenG are just the better team, but is Callista too much of a heavyweight? That's going to be the question. Oh no.
Calista, first blood. Ruler's Calista getting first blood. That's massive for GenG.
Poppy was there.
Because why is Poppy still there? It's because they had a sinking suspicion that T1 was going to try something. And they did. And that was the gambit. If they've got nothing, Poppy would burn TP, go back to lane 4, nothing. But the fact that they got that kill means the gamble has paid off. Ruler hasn't been able to spend that gold yet, but he's happy to just try to start asserting dominance on the bottom side of the map, knowing he has control of the wave, knowing how powerful.
Charm though, so Chovy gets punished a lot for it early.
Loved watching how in tune they are with what their opponents are going to do. A play like that doesn't happen if GenG haven't played this T1 team so many times.
That jungle player, absolutely ludicrous. Particularly against a Nocturne. Any camp you can steal is a big deal. Nocturne is so gated by his early power spike, hitting at level 6 when you truly become a champion.
Nocturne's going to lose 2 camps, maybe.
I think, especially if Orange does this, he's going to get grub as well.
And you're getting the advantage here, big. Early item spikes, early XP advantages. You talk about it. Any early edge is a massive advantage for either one of these junglers.
Tragedy.
Downside is Chovy suffering a bit in the mid lane. Expected early on against the Orianna, but
Mid push though, so maybe he can get the invade.
But his bot lane does not have prio because of the level 1. They were set pretty far behind, so he's going to go in. Mid lane
If Ona goes in and dies here, it's a tragedy, but luckily this charm start for Chovy means I don't... No, it's a tragedy. He's going to get maybe double scuttle, or take one and reset and run to the top one, but he's just going to leg it across.
It's just fantastic for Canyon, right? Because you are looking at him to be a major damage dealer. You're looking at him to be a major playmaker in a lot of these team fights.
And a I'm willing to give a champion a lot of benefit of the doubt. Okay, Kalista was already unfinished, but in this game, where you literally start with a kill in the first minute, and it's GenG, Ruler specifically on this champion, this is the final test case.
And the thing I want to call back to, because I showed at the start of the day a quote from an interview with Ashley Kang and Horizon, talking about how Chovy was comfortable playing against T1, and I think we have seen that across this entire series. No surprise Barons, the level 1 they were prepared for, and it does feel like this lineup is just so well equipped to go toe-to-toe with the T1 that most of the teams in the world can't seem to find a performance against.
And Chovy is the only member on the roster that has stayed the same since that started happening, right? Since we go back to 2022 summer, when Ruler won his first title with a completely different roster back then. And we do see that domestically, Chovy has just been incredible in this matchup.
But the big thing I'm looking at now, especially with GenG on match point in this game, is they're still, like they have not won a series against T1 internationally, right? This would be the first time that would happen.
It'll be big. Again, easier said than done. A positive start to the game isn't enough to close it out. T1, a team that always seems to find a way back in. Ruler and Doro doing what they can to hold on to mid lane, excuse me, bot lane control. And in mid lane, both racing faster.
Nocturne is suffering.
Fishing for any angle they can find, and now it's gaining on the bottom side. Kuma solo. Set in, can't quite get the auto.
Oh, not quite.
Watch way out. Can't get it. From the side of GenG, Kuma stone cold.
Flash though, flash for heal. They are going to be able to get the early Drakes. And this is what you need to do on Kalista. You need to bully the lane. You need to stack the early Drakes. And then the objective secure is really good. But as someone said in the chat yesterday, objective secure is less good than it used to be because it's so much more about the fight afterwards. Kalista a little bit less useful in a meta with loads of dive because you can just jump on her because she's very short range and she doesn't get to just kite around. But the biggest thing is that just the numbers are so low, I think. Okay, Shockwave. Let me jump back and see this properly.
Chovy the one giving up more and more, and Duro and Canyon trying to make up for it. Nice handshake. Faker's here in a good position.
Okay, the flash charm misses. Shockwave hits. Faker dies though. Bailout. Okay. And Courier's dead as well. Oh no, he's not.
Off with a lot of whiffs, but in a longer fight, that is where the Kalista Renata wants to play. Get value of the bailout, get value of the spears, and despite
yeah, so exactly what Chronic is saying there. Like they want the longer fight, and you can't have that most of the time in this meta.
Even with the Nocturne ult coming out, Owner barely escapes. Now Doran could be in trouble.
Trying to walk away, needs to still be clean on the footwork. GenG not going to overpush. Again, only a 600, 700 gold lead, but not the kind of lead you want to give away to the Ahri, Kalista, Zed composition. On the upside there is that Owner was able to pick up a stack on that ultimate hunter, so he's going to reduce his cooldown, but Canyon snowballing early on, definitely a big deal. Really the only reliable CC you have onto the Zed is Doran, right? You're talking about the body slide, you're talking about the cast. Outside of that, who actually deals with this Zed? Unless he W's into, you know, Shockwave, Karma needs a leash, Owner needs a leash on the Nocturne. I don't think Canyon's really going to give this opportunity, so if he does get too far ahead, we've already seen GenG play towards him pretty heavily, pick up another kill. It could become an unanswerable issue for T1. Still have the global pressure of this Nocturne though, maybe Owner can use that to turn this game around. Might have to be the angle. Long cooldown on level 1 of that ultimate. Ruler and Duro make their home on the top side of the map. Ruler was behind there and experienced for a moment, but taking a lead for Duma quite yet. Early Sheen will help things out. Caria makes his way up to the top side. Needs to get some more value out of this Karma pick. Good news for T1. So resets coming through. Means they have more members on the top side of the map. Rubs for now uncontested. Is Canyon might be looking mid lane. All through the wall. That's going to be the death mark. Faker trying to get his way out, but Canyon hits everything.
Yeah, just the double ult really hard to do anything. Can they kill him on the back end? Good. But now Kalista's just pushing in. She gets another. Corki gets one of the grubs. What was that? Two of the grubs? Okay.
Glad to have a little bit back there. 1k goldie for GenG. Not a great sign for T1 in this game. Did get value out of that ultimate coming in for Owner, but you can see for Faker, he's kind of just powerless against this line of play.
Canyon in range to just be able to ult on top of him as soon as he hits the W. Faker steps a little bit too far up, and then this is nicely done by Doran. They really need this kill to work out, because looking at the sideways, obviously they're in a rough spot. If you don't even get that trade, Doran still makes his way over, doesn't actually get that kill. The play is just a disaster. Instead, he is looking to have to be the hero here. And Ruler, as long as he has flash, as long as he has his barrier of 8, I think should be relatively safe, but that might be the type of play we're looking towards.
So first item from Owner. He's already used the first ult obviously, but now he has the short cooldown for the next one. Corki does scale well into the game, even with this weird build, I think.
Not enough information, but GenG don't want to risk anything. Know the power of this combo. 5 seconds away on Owner's ultimate. Doran's there. Canyon clearing out the vision. Both junglers see each other. Owner now losing that vision. Be ready to go in at a moment's notice. Attacking the Orianna would make the combo that much harder, but Doran's ready to body block.
5v5, both keen, and Doran out here. T1 want to try and not give GenG opportunity, just keep stacking these Drakes, but see if they can turn to Keen.
Find the angle on the Keen, hoping to find a knockback. Hits 2 members, an opportunity for GenG to go crazy. Chovy immediately also gets things kicked off. Dashing in.
Ooh, big shockwave.
Right now to go in, it's Owner pops the ulti. Darkness on the side of GenG. They nearly lost the exchange, but T1 won't push for any more.
Wow, what a combination coming through from the Gragas and
big shockwave.
to really set up that fight. Now T1 are going to have Faker
TP coming back in.
Canyon, but completely crushed. Just so
That is going to be equal out dragons, equal kills. Best full clear jungler. What do you mean? As in who clears fastest or who's best to just full clear?
They'll have to deal with that in a little bit. But as we see, this is the absolute power of that Gragas Orianna combo, and just a really smart move to end up turning on to Keen.
What happens here is Chovy wanting to go the edge there. It means that this fight is over before Rulers here.
Yeah, really nice shockwave.
With his teleports with the bailout, that fight is salvageable, but that was a must-win moment for T1. They get the combo. GenG isn't allowed to just further snowball, and with how exposed these two comms are, I think we're gonna see a lot of fights like that. Find one target, blow them up, go from there.
And as tanky as Keen will be, the rest of the lineup so squishy. If that shockwave connects, and it is hard to connect, if it does, easy to see the angle in which they win the fight. Canyon on the way forward, shockwave there from Faker. Just gets the chunk. Not really approaching an objective, so we'll just force the
Most optimal at clearing. I mean, Zyra is the fastest clearing jungler in the game.
When we talk about the lack of CC on T1, have to do the same for GenG. There is Charm, there's Handshake, and Poppy. That's it. There's not a whole lot for them. Obviously, they do have a lot of damage, so maybe they're going for the
Maybe Karthus or something super late on. Zed is really fast as well, obviously. Zed is the fastest one who's like in the meta. Not hugely high prio in the meta, but still in the meta.
They have the tools to deal with it, right? Like Gragas is a great disengage. Orianna Shockwave can have a great disengage. You then have the Ahri Charm, right? The Kalista ult, the Renata ult, the Poppy. There's so much on both of these teams to be able to deal with whoever dives in first. So if it is really, really close, it's going to be heavily dependent on bursting down those key targets.
Canyon seems to be the key target for now. All teams try to get away, but the Beer Panther still connects.
Which player do I think is the best Zed player in the world? Or what do you mean? Who clears the fastest on fast clearing junglers? Most, like if you're playing Zed at this level, you need to be able to do the clear, so it will be roughly the same. Zyra 1 is a little bit dependent on where the plants spawn. So it's only in like ERLs or whatever, like we played against a Zed yesterday that was somehow slower than Viego clearing. Like that's not gonna like Canyon owner and anyone's not gonna have that. I mean, Inspired is a very good, like selfish jungler, I guess is what you'd say. But obviously Canyon's the best jungler in the world, so Canyon would be my answer. But I think it's a little bit of a slightly strange question when you're talking about players of this level. In ERLs, you can say like, okay, Agurin, for example, or someone like that, because it's a bit more, it's a bit less like everyone can do it, you know? So when you're talking about MSI, like it's a little bit harder to say. I mean, Canyon can play tanks well as well, but when he plays carries, and he just takes over the game. He can take over the game.
I don't think he meant to get in the Herald, and he knew that if he hit that tower, he would die. So I think that was the... We don't simply know. As the dragon is going to go to T1, full control of the river, in particular with an ocean.
Okay, they get the second dragon as well. So this was the thing that you would always want Kalista for, is stacking these dragons, and that's not worked even when they got the early lead.
Yeah, T1 should be able to, again, reset, set this map up how they want. Like you mentioned, it's so hard to check into all of these extra brushes.
There's a lot less dive this later on in Fearless though. So yes, they've got the Nocturne Ori combo, but it's not like one of these early ones where there's like Vi and Wukong, and you know, obviously they wouldn't be on the same team, but you know what I mean, like loads and loads of dive and Annie and all this kind of stuff. So there are angles for Kalista to take over some of these fights on the back end if she doesn't die in that shotgun in that first set or first like initial engage.
This is the type of game where he has a decent amount of damage, but with Keen going for a more bruiser rebuild, but still, I think Ahri has already struggled a lot. A lot of these royal builds just not seemingly having the impact. Keen trying to look for Stun the Wall, doesn't quite find it, and both teams think looking towards the icon. Summoners that are available, basically all of them. The Flash for Door, that's a big one that is still down. TP for both top laners basically on the same timer. Faker is a little ahead of Chovy, but I don't know if that'll matter because both of them are already in the top side lane, making sure that the enemy team can't go for an icon play.
We talked about how the team that gets ahead finds that first really significant advantage, should just be able to run away with this. But the little bit of advantage that GenG had, T1 were able to weather. Double Seekers, mid and top solo lanes for T1, well equipped, limiting the amount of options for Canyon to attack Guma, the most vulnerable member, but as Carry is standing beside him, this next fight feels like similar to the previous game, even though we had a lot of blood, it's all building up to this one crucial team fight. Target selection is hard because there are 2 arm guards on T1, so actually getting on top of someone, not an easy task. Definitely not. You can see here Canyon getting a lot of gold in the coin-based gold grind. Now we're setting up again. This time though it's T1 in the driver's seat, T1 taking control of the vision, not looking to get these creative angles of attack, and so much hinges on Canyon or Chovy being able to find these lines, maybe even Keen. It just doesn't seem like an option. Faker's just walking up and hitting his tower completely unafraid.
Owner might be looking to dive this potentially, but now with Canyon in the area.
W used by Canyon, so it earlier was not Chovy. Owner woken up. I think it's further than see Duro, but obviously Duro, even if he handshakes in. I'm going to do a lot. Second item done for Owner, by the way, sitting on Cleaver. Canyon hasn't finished his. Not ready yet. Finished his boots first instead. And now your team wanting to be the first one because there's so much damage available. The lack of resistances can be so insanely big of a deterrent because if you do get shredded, if Zed gets like one big E, you're just gone.
Yeah, both of these teams can have so much burst, as we already called out, kind of the Seekers is going to make things a bit more difficult for GenG, and if they do get any sort of advantage in these fights, that's where I am looking at Ruler's Kalista to be able to do more sustained damage over time with her Ren stacks.
Still very close game. 2 dragons. I think Zed scales fairly well in this game with not that much CC. But of course, Corki should scale better, although Renata late game is really fucking strong. Ori late game should be better, but...
Meantime, Dragon's pushing on the top side. Chovy going in, looking for the charm, doesn't connect, anticipating a backstep that wasn't there. Baker Stone Gold just keeps walking.
And the rest of T1 also not phased. Doran is just pushing in top side. Will be getting the first turret there.
Take the boots.
Okay, they get the tower, they get the boots.
Out, right, as they're both posturing, poking around. Doran ends up taking that top tier 1, and now he's TPing into the bot side to push this wave in, but also potentially he can look for a flank here.
But they can for now, marked by Chovy. Chovy ultless. And the fight to come. Luma setting up big damage on Adoro. And T1 are just chipping away at GenG's cooldowns. They got the tower, Doran, they got the ulti, and now Doran hungry for a little bit more. For now, just zoning off as the objective started. Sole point for T1 in their eyes. We see the posturing maybe looking towards the plate. For the other combat, it's on vision. Owner very easily can get access carry, and Faker already making their way over. And T1 kind of doing to GenG what GenG did to them in game number 3, just slowly choking out of the game.
Yeah, and the threat for the picks that can come through from
Three
T1
dragons now.
The poke damage coming out of this Corki has actually been really crucial. That's what kind of pushed GenG, pressured them off of that mid wave, allowed T1 to immediately go in. Right,
I mean, at least it's a really good series, even if GenG turn this game around and win it.
Whittling down these health bars enough that they could go in and take control.
Completely agree, and it's so frustrating if you're ruler. You draft this, knowing the Corki is already there, expecting probably that goes to the bot lane, although it's technically
Are they just going to rush this Atcan with Faker basing?
pressure, but just has not mattered after we've gotten out of that lane phase. Guma usually just seems so much more powerful. The poke leveraged so well, and now GenG went out to pace the game. They started the Autocon carry up quick, control ward over the wall to spot what's happening here. GenG just backing off, but perhaps baiting the trap. T1 don't have perfect information. The ward doesn't spot far enough. Now Doran will see what's happening.
Okay.
Chovy waiting over the wall. Flash
Big
over the
engage.
ticked up. For now, Ruler untouched on the backside. Canyon
Really nice Renato roll though.
Keep your eyes on Rulers. He starts to run rampant. Throws Duro back into the mix of the entire exchange. Ruler
Faker's still not here, neither's Nocturne. Ruler's going to die, but he's going to get the reset, maybe? Yes, he does get the reset.
It worked. GenG holding on. 2 stacks up for Chovy. Retreat going in.
Oh, Poppy ult, is that what knocked them both away? Keen's going to die. Who got the Atcan?
Locked up. Owner finding the kill. The charm onto Faker is
I
big,
guess,
but it's not
GenG,
enough
right?
damage to finish the job.
And GenG read the engage to come through from Doran. They're ready. And the counter
It's a really nice engage from Doran, but I think Poppy ult. I want to see it again.
For that fight, right? His TP hadn't come up, so he had to end up walking all the way.
This
up
is 4v5
to
then, I think,
where
if he
T1 was
just...
contesting. He was a little bit late there, so they didn't have that kind of shockwave to be able to add on. As you see, Faker is still down here on the map, and it's going to take him a while to get in.
a little bit of extra damage. A shockwave there as Doran find that engage. That could have been the game winner. That
Zed gets it.
They get out of
Yeah,
they're
and he
able to
gets
take the
Poppy
play
ulted away.
instead. They
Only
are
gets Poppy
able
ulted.
to knock away the Nocturne. Orianna is
And Ruler nearly just dies here. If Ruler just dies, like, look how close he is. Like, one more tick.
Almost ends up winning the fight for T1, but instead Ruler gets the reset. He stays alive. Keen happily gives his life because now Alcon goes the way of GenG, but it's not
What?
enough of a win, a decisive fight win for GenG.
I'm just nervously looking at the bar at the bottom. I'm not trying to work it out. I'm just looking at the bar.
In the context of champion v champion, the objective has something for GenG, but it's not getting easier.
Yeah, I think it gets really scary, and as we see, even though Canyon had kind of a good start, right? Owner has pretty much.
So, 2 minutes on Soul.
He actually did hit 2 items first. He'll be able to contest really, really well, especially when he's able to shut off the lights and kind of create chaos. So, GenG won't be able to necessarily find the target selection that they want, right? So, after a pretty good start,
Canyon's got 2.5 items.
Really scary for GenG.
Highlight as well. Chovy just continually going for these plays. It really reminds me of what Faker did on the Silas, right? The amount of ease and change he missed didn't end up mattering. He was still able to make big impact, and Chovy has been very vocal. These two players have just been at the heart of so much of the LCK's narrative, right? The back and forth. Chovy wants to have the same level of consistent clutch. As we said at the top of the day, it's the most clutch player of all time versus the current best player in Chovy. Thus far, the charms haven't been hitting, but he has been fishing. And how fitting would it be if T1 are then able to just respond in a way that Chovy still can't find what he's looking for?
And Faker's gonna be able to clean up this bot tier 1 as well, while they're posturing around mid, right? They're getting poke damage down. Guma and
40 seconds. Let's go back to normal speed because this will be should be a crucial moment because I think you can't give him soul. I think it's just too much. Well, a little bit of a waste of the Shrelliers. Karma shields. Charm lands but blocked.
And I think it's a good highlight, right? And we've
This next mid wave is going to be the crucial one. Whoever gets this next mid wave first gets positioning on the dragon probably.
If he was in peak form, but they've just kept
Unless you just give up the mid wave and you play for the position first.
clearly know what's coming. They really just have
So it is just like a 5v5 on this. Ooh, that's so close to knocking them both back. Ruler half HP though.
doesn't have flash.
Ruler
T1 get position. They get the
half health.
wave, like I said. I think they're just okay. They do the T1 classic. You pull them really fast to Baron, and they can't even start it.
Ready to kick things off.
And you have the Callista, so it's not 50-50.
Canyon waiting over the wall. Duro needs a good ulti here.
Or the combo, but it's blocked. Oh my god. That was super... Well, Fake gets knocked away by the Poppy. Can they win the back end? I don't think so. Nocturne just... I think it's a nice idea, but it just goes too early, and it's just that the E and the locket is just too much shielding. They're not going to be able to get the soul either,
For GenG,
I don't
can
think.
they use it to get back to the
Yeah,
Drake?
every time I skip forward, I see how much is left. It's a bit annoying. What I could do is find a place that does it game by game, and then I just don't know if there's more.
Mean that they get this. And GenG, powerful counterpunch this deep into the game.
Yeah, you see they're pinging on it. Faker is going to be able to clear up this tier 1 in mid, but they're already TPing in. They really need to get this. Nocturne is back on the board.
I think you would have
Owner's ult is almost back up.
thought that fight was going to get better, but I mean, Poppy is just so broken, by the way. Like, knocking Faker away there, like, if Oriana's there as well, with people all being that low, you have to think more people die. And if more people die, they get soul. But I want to see someone just call that. Okay, with all the towers up, you rush to Baron, we just take soul. You're going to get the outer towers with Baron. Maybe you get one inner. Just take soul. You've got all your towers up. 80% of his health dies, but then that's it. And then look, Faker gets knocked away by Keen. And now it's just 4v5 again. All of this time, imagine if Oriana's there.
All those Ren stacks in, and also importantly, the Poppy punted out Faker. So they did get the combo.
Poppy
off, and
is
then again, he
broken.
had to walk back in to continuously do
And there's no
damage
Doran
in
ult to
this
follow
fight.
up on that
And
combo
that
to
ends
make
up
sure
being
the
a massive
last
difference
20%
maker.
of Kalista dies. I think they just go a bit too early.
Joy from Helper, unsurprisingly.
We
But I
need a
think
helper cam.
That
We
was the
definitely do.
shortest response of Joy I've ever. He was immediately back locked in.
But I think a little bit of story time for GenG, because it was Game 4 last year semifinals. Keen, completely monstrous. It was Canyon on Nidalee, a similar champ that we don't always expect to see, finding a way back, finding these fights, and it was little missteps that ended up costing them that game. Now here, in a much better, much more comfortable position, match point belonging to them. See now if they can close it out, or if T1 can weather the storm.
T1 re-engage is still there. And after
Has to be the combo engage, but this time with Doran's ult as well.
Actual Zhonya's, but Doran has just been stuck on components for a while.
And Poppy isn't here, so this is a 4v5 with the 5 base defense from T1. While Ruler is going to end up joining Keen in that mid lane, they're going to try to...
Yeah, my Oriana maybe doesn't change that fight standing there.
Unfortunately for GenG, even
Just
with
queue
Magic, their
backwards and
siege
then
is
laugh.
great, right? Like, we
Very
have,
short range,
it's
yeah.
very short range. If they can get onto a turret, particularly with Kalista, they can get through it quickly.
But this is why, like, it's so hard for them to break towers. You could have just traded soul for this.
Maybe looking for a pick.
Even with kills, they managed to get 2 towers with this Baron so far.
Gotta do your due diligence.
So explain to me again why we can't give him Baron. And just take soul?
Good response ulti coming in from Owner. Means that there's nothing that GenG can do to try and finish that kill.
We go again. Shockwave still up.
Shockwave connecting onto Doro. Decent poke damage. Keen from behind manages to knock the Gragas out of the picture. Owner might
Poppy's
be in
fucking
trouble, but
broken.
Keen not able to get down the follow-up. We'll just back away.
Ooh, don't forget, there is no Baron buff. Trophy goes in again.
Charm connects, but again, no follow-up. You can tell how eager GenG are to just get a little bit more of an advantage so they can start to break open more towers, but they cannot find it.
And without the Baron buff, they just can't see. So it's either diving, which obviously, even with, if you got 2 people, not just Doran, I think they can look for the dive. But they can't. You have to just reset. And that means that T1 just gets another opportunity at a straight 5v5 towards this next dragon.
Yeah, really nice base defense from T1, and they're actually still ahead in turrets to GenG, even
I mean,
after that attempted siege now.
It's
I
just
think
like
they
this thing that
should
we
be
have
able
where we
to push
can't
in
give
this
Baron
top wave and probably get
as
that top
pro
tier one
teams.
down soon. It is pretty damaged, but
And I just think the trade is
you
good.
can see kind of how when these compositions go
If you're
up
playing
against
against a
each
team that
other
can't
in
take
that
towers.
situation, it's so
Okay,
hard
Baron gives you a bunch of
for
gold.
GenG to actually take down
But when they
Storm.
fully give up position on
They need
Dragon,
a fight.
just
They need
say
to take
fine.
someone out.
100%. And I think the struggle for them is the opposite is not necessarily true for T1. The threat of the long-range non-committal engage from the Gragas, the poke from an Oriana and a Corki means that if T1 find themselves in a similar position, it'll be pretty impossible for GenG to hold on without just going all in at the first opportunity.
Even the barrels from Doran, right? Like, you pretty much have poke coming out of every single one of these champions here. Whoa.
Hold that up. It's okay. If we didn't do a Raz, they couldn't see when we accidentally alt tabbed down to the draw, Ethan.
It's fine. I've been drawing too much anyway. It's all good.
Right now,
Anyway, a lot of poke.
Item finishes, therefore, really the entire roster. Ruler just now finishing his Jack Show, so he's actually very beefy. Serpent's Fang for Canyon. Look at Chovy now also having his arm guard available. A flanking ward to come through it. Chovy behind him.
Chovy ready to go, looking for Faker. He goes golden. Instantaneous
Ooh,
reaction.
stopwatch.
Keen now gonna look for some form of disengage.
Really nice Renata roll. Zones everyone away.
Doesn't do too much. Chovy
Ooh,
ready to go over the
Chovy
wall.
on the
He's
backside.
sorted out this time.
Just needs
T1
one
already.
reset.
Ulti for ulti. Tried the flash.
Okay.
To make the difference.
Oh, but the combo is not quite there.
Easily Canyon goes in. Finds the follow-up damage.
So Doran's going to die.
Taking down Doran. T1
Almost. Ruler gets one shot, but the shockwave's not quite there, so he is able to flash it.
The threat of these Chovy charms is huge, and you saw.
Imagine if
even
you have
there
Soul,
when
guys.
Doran kind of tried to get in, tried to separate. GenG had the perfect response. That Renata ult was also massive from Duro.
Look at the time here on the owner's ultimate. I think this dragon is definitely going to be gone, but T1 wouldn't be T1 if they're not going to try and at least contest. There is still a ward in the pit. I'm shocked that GenG haven't cleared that.
No ulti, no flash.
Oh,
Seems like they're just not
gonna
worried.
be fast enough.
Baron also in their sights. Big moment. Tied up soul point to soul point.
Oh, and Doran. That play onto Ruler, if there is slightly earlier follow-up and Ruler doesn't get the flash, that wins him the game. That's just the end right there. They're able to get Soul. They're probably able to get Baron off of that as well. But Ruler survives.
Okay, Ruler no flash this time.
5 seconds on Doran. Has TP
But they have
available, but no
complete
flash.
control.
Guma with flash.
One blue ward in the
Faker
pit
with
is doing
flash.
God's
They have
work.
tools. They can just find the angle. But GenG not going to overcommit here. Want to get their resets. T1 happy to reclaim a bit of control over the Baron pit, although really taking their time. They know that a single pick at this point could just end the game in the favor of GenG.
This is so tense. I'm like sitting here gripping the table.
I think it's okay.
It's the mountain
No, it's
pressure.
fun. It's a good kind of tense, right?
We can
Because
just,
like any of these team fights can just be really, really explosive.
it's also a good reminder that we can take a breath. You know, this is one of the few
No.
opportunities.
Breathing sometimes
no taking
overrated, bro.
breaths. We're gonna stay tense because I imagine the players are feeling the same way. Baron is up now. T1 most likely screaming in comms to try and find some opportunity there. Don't forget that disengage is still great with the Gragas and the threat, the zone control of the Orianna. They can just start up that objective, try and bring us to a game 5 in that classic T1 fashion. But it feels like GenG at this point have just read that play too many times, and I think that's why T1 are hesitant to go for it. There are so many beefy targets on GenG, right? Even with the build he's gone for, Chovy is actually very hard to kill. Same for Keen. Arguably even Ruler if he gets a stack of the Terminus.
Can be a tough target to take down. Doran, Faker, posturing, fishing. Again, the potential with their
Okay,
ultis
midwave's gone.
to turn a fight is
They go
massive.
towards
The
top
same
wave.
thing
They
said
clear
of
out the
Keen.
vision
Not afraid of the
again.
front line knows.
Mirroring vision.
Chovy's gonna show on this top
Area.
wave.
They're speeding them.
Chovy showing
Ooh, ult
real
is terrible.
sidestep. Keen goes in. Now Ruler's
Really
gonna
nice
put
catch
the
from
damage down.
Keen.
This Callisto already. Owner forced to ultimate. Canyon on the way out, but he
Canyon
goes back.
pulls them back.
The combo only connects on
It's
one.
not going to be quite enough damage.
Eyes on the yard, but he's not able to find anything.
Renata's route comes
Down
through.
zone left.
Guma has the flash.
Getting lower. Gumayushi still standing
Doran is
strong.
really low. I mean, the fact that that ult
Redemption
and then
bringing
the
it
heal
back
comes
healthy.
back. The fact that that ult was just a complete whiff and also doesn't follow up with the combo. They just don't have quite enough damage.
Fresh.
Chovy the last dash out. Shockwave
And imagine if they had Ocean Soul and all these longer fights suddenly are favoured in T1 instead, and then it becomes really hard. 5k, but it's not 50-50. Yeah, they just get it. And if they win the back end, they just win the fight, win the game. Okay, ult comes back though. No, he does.
T1 still looking.
Baker does not want to give them the chance to
They
back
don't
up.
want to They don't want to give them the reset. They've got 2 minutes on Baron. I mean Dragon, but they're just wasting Baron time if they can just keep them around.
On the side.
Canyon.
T1, if they bet wrong here with the wave already pushing, it could cost them the game. Vision. Canyon threatening. Shadows out. Now the ulti. But they take their
Okay,
time
goes
waiting on the
forward.
trigger, so the W used, they're gonna force the flash as well. Keen continues to go
Flash
in.
forced.
Big damage, shockwave back.
Shockwave,
Keen.
nice.
Shut down. T1 playing on the edge.
Canyon's there.
Diving forward with the
It's
pierce.
not like the one-shot Z from your solo queue game, right? He's
Wasted as they're not able to push
Conqueror
forward.
Z with like shredding and local downs and stuff like that.
This is most likely going to lead into them getting prio on this dragon. They're at soul point already. We're 40 minutes in. 6 dragons have been taken. GenG, with how drawn out these fights are. I take back what I said about the Ocean Soul. That is going to do some serious work because these fights have been so long. How many people actually, like 2 throughout the entire sequence?
We keep looking at it, expecting it to be this pick into kills for the side of GenG or this perfect combo for T1, but because these ultis aren't connecting on 5 people, the fight is always drawn out. It's always about the smallest margins, and Ocean Soul can make all the difference.
Ruler now has a GA as well, so he'll have that locked in for the next fight, which could end up being.
And Ruler's just harder and harder to kill. I think you have to start going on someone else, but Ari has Zonya's.
Offensive and defensive so strong.
Ruler has too much resists and a GA.
Do not have vision control. They barely have control of their own jungle.
Maybe you have to just start killing frontline now.
Is where the vision line ends.
Stop going for these like combos and just play for frontline and play Nocturne as a like ult bot.
Dorn has to be careful to step forward here, and again, 5 seconds. It's T1 with their backs against the wall. They do not want to give up this Ocean Soul. It is match point for GenG, but they know any bad fight they take could end it. Still poking, still prodding.
Canyon. That's a lot of
Canyon
damage.
with poke, but he does lose all his energy doing playing like this.
Not side laning, not wanting to run a risk in the Nocturne.
Keen acting as that bouncer to the back line. Does not want to let anyone in from the side of T1, but the combo from the Nocturne Orianna will always be lethal. Ruler starting the objective. It won't be a 50-50 on the smite. It's going to take a miracle. Ocean Drake, Ocean Soul secured, and now Chovy goes in. They manage to get the Zonyas out immediately, and Owner's going to try to fire back, but he can't get anything else done. Canyon posture.
Okay, but it is the soul now, so the longer fights are even more bad. Okay, they one-shot Zed. Owner comes across. Not so big Renata ult. Fight going longer. Chovy's going to have to Zonyas. Faker gets caught in the backline though. Faker gets shut down too. Sorry, Faker, Chovy. Surely they can't kill all of them. He's going to reset in TP. Faker has TP. If they can just keep them around, it becomes a 5v3. No, Doran, don't go too far. TP coming now.
Faker on the way. Keen needs to find a way out. Fear there.
Nice, really nice ult.
Right into the midst of the team, and now Doro and Ruler have to make all the difference.
Okay.
He's into the back line. It's him versus
No.
But
Ruler.
takes it. They have to keep him running.
He's dead now.
They have to
Surely
keep
he's
him
dead
running.
now.
T1
Surely he's dead now.
He's gliding. Flash.
Surely he's dead now, guys.
Boys trying to style on them, but the GA denied.
Oh, but it's taken so long. Canyon's back up.
T1 find their man.
Look at the left timer.
Jesus, what a fight.
50 seconds on Ruler. King.
But can Chovy and Canyon hold? I think they might be able to. Maybe not.
Canyon.
he's
Vancouver
trying to go
alive.
away.
Oh my gosh.
Vancouver hungry for more from
Chovy's up as
T1
well.
for game 5.
They just got to clear.
They have to keep pushing. The Ocean Soul will remain for GenG as long as they stay in this game. T1 a brief glimmer,
All
a
or
brief
nothing.
moment to take it. They'll
Whew.
have to be happy with just the inhibitor, not willing to bet it.
So they can't kill Callista first anymore, and this time they didn't. They managed to get a really nice pick onto Canyon.
And in this, I want everyone to be watching the Guma damage, right? The damage coming out of this Corki.
Because Corki now does shred the front line.
15k. So as it gets separated, it ends up looking pretty all right for GenG. They're like, okay, we can wait this out. Never mind. Canyon gets caught on the back line.
The fact that it's Doran that does it as well. The previous play on Tarula not working out, but here he takes out one of the biggest members of the team. And then I think here GenG could have probably looked to exit. Just take 3 members, let it be, but they choose not to. Instead, opting into this fight, and T1 slow playing it beautifully.
Yeah, they slow play it, and again, when they get separated, right, they're able to take down Chovy in the MasterCard priceless moment of the game. Faker is going to end up teleporting.
Really
and
nice ult there from
rejoining.
Doran.
Again, just so well done from T1 to kind of wait.
And he's got so much cooldown reduction. There's 2 ults in that fight.
Being disastrous for GenG.
Okay, but what's happening, guys? The game is still going on.
Ruler a bit frustrated. Maybe thought he could dance his way out of that one and was damn close to doing it. But again, I want to call attention back to Doran. We mentioned it before with Faker, always going for the chains, always fishing for the angle. But in this game, it's been Doran fishing.
Canyon's cleared the wave ahead of them, it seems.
Both top laners so crucial to their team.
Same thing. So this time, I don't think you can one-shot Ruler. He doesn't have GA, but I still don't think you can. Charm comes through, though.
Might make the difference. He's been caught out. Owner missed the entire team trying to ult out the safety. Faker knocked entirely out of the fight. Canyon wants to follow, but Doran is there with the
Okay, but the Poppy ult is gone. Poppy ult is huge. Ariel's going to be back really soon, but Poppy ult shouldn't.
But now Prio on Baron for GenG, and the ultimate for Owner is gone.
Shockwave.
Yeah, that's huge. Shockwave is
from
still
Faker
up.
can be big. Taking
He's
his
not
time
going to
with
shockwave the
angle,
front line.
just descend on the objective. They know they have the
But
advantage.
with Guma there, they could actually just kill him.
For the Zed. The E from the Callisto should finish it. But instead is Keen picked off. Eyes on Faker again with the shockwave.
Yeah, just front to back, front to back, front to back.
Lower and lower.
Throws the ult in.
Possible for Owner.
Okay, but they can get onto Corki. I mean, not Corki, Callista. I mean, Corki does so much damage, man. Like, just kill the first person. Look at this, like 1-2 autos. Guma does so much damage. Well, they worked out how they needed to play by the end. They just say, fuck diving on Callista, guys. Just to kill the front line. Okay. 5 games. Right, I'm going to the toilet. And we'll watch the last game.
Once more to 5 as GenG not able to win with the soul. T1 see that and say, who cares? We'll just kill you through it.
And what better way to hit the record 7 silver scrapes than with GenG and T1. Back to you over at the desk.
T1, some said they took a risk on Doran, but he paid them back tenfold. T1 are inevitable. We are in a game 5, despite there being not many chances for T1 to turn this game around, but they do it every single time.
It is just insane, T1. From the
Okay.
position that they're in, it is
Okay.
they're able to find these
Good. I mistimed how long this VOD was. Perfect.
Electric and all I asked for.
Yeah, Nick could go top lane, but I'm 99% sure that's going to be mid. For Chovy, it's actually his
Aurora.
across all of 2025, and including Fearless, so that's pretty high.
TF still banned. Yorick banned. Caitlyn banned. Maokai banned. Lee Sin taken for owner. Poppy's gone, so... What's he going to play into this? Silas already.
And again, speaking of clutch players, not only like Faker, Silas, game 5, it just hits different. Chovy is a terrifying Aurora, but they can't shut Faker down. We know what he's capable of.
We'll see, because as Emily highlighted, GenG have been willing to flex his Aurora.
But there's no more melee supports left, right? I mean, there's like Leona and stuff, but those are the ones that are really nice to steal away. Okay. Owner Lee Sin versus Canyon Italy. There's still going to be another version of this, potentially as well, in the upper bracket.
They will run over the opposition.
And there's no Ornn, there's no Scion. There's the easy counters to this. It can also be actually Aurora top, by the way. And Renekton into Silas. Oh, Ambessa.
One of the craziest 1v2s that we saw in their series. The Rogues MSI popped off in an insane manner as the engaged for so many are already gone. Leona going to get taken off the board as well. Again, the sport pool gets smaller. You highlighted Emily Carrier. Red 5 counter pick.
So far, no really good ults other than obviously the Aurora one is pretty good.
And he can play anything. As we see, the Nautilus removed was kind of expecting that. Wasn't sure which team was going to end up taking it out, but he remains on the ban list. So those two kind of remaining engaged supports taken out.
And we're out of engaged supports now. So last game we saw how little CC options there were, how scrappy the fights become. We're set up to see the same again because there's not really a lot of point and click reliable lockdown left.
I would have played with the engaged supports. I guess they want to, they want to get rid of good blind picks, and they're probably going to blind pick for Guma. Zig's gone.
A hallmark of, again, the series that T1 beat GenG with, or in.
Ziggs would have been nice actually here on 4, I think.
See what Guma, most likely Guma is going to end up picking here, so I do think they're going to say that R5 carry.
What's the angle for Guma? Still a decent amount of carries.
What's it going to be?
Ashley was successful last year. Aggressive though.
Draven blind pick in game 5.
And a pick that goes back all the way to when Guma debuted way back in the qualification series. Pretty sure 2020 against
And then you got counter pick support. It's going to be what? Jinx Tom, Jinx Thresh, Jinx Lulu.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, if it's a Jinx Enchanter.
There's no Bard to punish this if it's Jinx Lulu. There's no Blitzcrank to punish it as well. It's going to be the Tom.
Trying to keep Ruler safe. Late game insurance right there.
They see how committed T1 are early to mid game. They say, okay,
Oh, it's Spike.
See it.
he's debating. Still considering. Fantastic with the shield from top catch.
And again, I can't talk about this bot lane enough.
Okay.
Okay.
How they like to play, how they like to pressure their
No, I think I actually prefer the Zac, by the way.
We haven't seen a second of gameplay yet, and this is already
I'm so excited.
a banger.
I actually prefer the Zac. I don't mind the Pike, but I prefer the Zac. Obviously, they have to snowball. Well, the thing with Draven, right, is that Draven wants to snowball, but if Draven has loads of stacks and he rocks up to that first dragon fight, or even the second dragon fight, and he's got no kills, but just mega stacks, no deaths either, his ult just, like, one-shots people.
We're going to take something from our friends at the LCK. Chronicler and Emily are going to lead you through team chance. Very simple. They're going to say team name. They're going to say 1, 2, 3, and Korea. You shout that team name, fight it. Everyone ready? A lot of people here, LCK fans, I think already.
Hello, do set. Team up fighting.
Great job, Vancouver. You nailed it. Keep that energy high. It's game 5, baby. Oh, fighting wasn't enough. We need the T1 chance, too. A reminder. Who Vancouver is rooting for, and again, This is the only moment of reprieve you will have.
Okay.
Watch this be somehow another 18-minute first blood.
I swear.
There's no way.
No.
They got the
They can
fight.
find
They got the
Okay,
Draven.
that is a Halo Blaze puck. Yeah, he goes hard or he goes to a different lane. To be honest with you. Okay.
I'll find a way.
I like this defensive ward.
T1 obviously very strong.
It's gonna spot them.
With Lee, Silas as well, and take control again in Vic Kane's jungle.
They're just gonna force in anyway though.
If they're able to turn this into a vertical map, again, really works well with the pressure that Guma and Keria should be able to provide.
And if they split map, it's like exactly like she's saying.
Goes a little wide there. The respective lanes under the split map to survive. Pressure on Ruler and Duro to weather that storm. Pressure on the top side for Doran to weather that storm. If that's where Canyon wants to go for now, it seems he's more content to fight for these early camps. Doesn't have a red buff. But seems like
Okay.
he's powered
Q misses. I think if that Q hits, he's in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, and that's response from Canyon, right? Owner, again, they
So
still
he
have
stops
bio,
the map
able to
split
technically loop around and kinda do
so that bot lane
so
can
Canyon
actually
will be able to
play.
get those Raptors head up. We'll see if he wants to do any sort of invade of his own.
Okay,
He
no.
does have Cryo in this mid lane and on this top side. Will get spotted
He's
down by
just
the
gonna
storm.
run.
Important to see the responses from Owner. It seems like he's pretty content to just keep clearing again. Without mid prio, it's tough to contest in the 1v1. Canyon can just walk away and waste a lot of time. As Duro's hooked up, but he exhausts Guma.
Oof.
Already has them low. And they know Canyon's top side, which just allows Carry and Guma usually to get so aggressive in the bottom lane.
And it's a big deal. Even if Keria doesn't actually roam over Cho, he has to play a lot safer as Canyon. He's level down.
Hit, Sonic Wave, resonates, struck. The red buff is there too. Canyon trying to finish the objective, hope he goes for himself, but the others are just not going to do much.
He's gonna kill him, surely.
He'll go in.
Yeah.
Down, reverse blow.
Big.
And in the hands of another player.
Very big Fona.
It seemed like just a pick away. Right, you want to deny Canyon, one of his all-time best champions. But we know, in case of Owner, he himself is a demon on this champion. Finds the early wraparound. Canyon dying early on in this game. A big lead in the jungle and a rough start for GenG.
And if he gets ahead on this Lee Sin, Owner is so, I mean, both of these junglers, but Owner's Lee Sin is known. It's so good at setting up picks, right? At setting up plays for this Pike to go in, for this Draven to follow up, and later on for the Ambessa to go in. Like, he has so many dive buddies as well. Getting ahead early on this could be huge for T1.
Could be devastating. The T1 and GenG both have managed to find their way out of these early game deficits. But Carry is in the mid lane.
Oh, Carrier.
Flawless. It's not enough to win. Jovi might be thinking more. Jovi, beautiful punish.
I mean, he's not gonna get anything for it, but the flash trade.
But do note, Owner might be looking. Jovi's low.
Jovi's low, and most importantly, Doran TP to this bot side almost as soon as he could, right? Keria is unleashed on the map. That's what this bot lane prio gives you, already being a menace.
So
for
they
T1 in the
swap.
mid lane.
Credit to Carry. E-flash, channeling the Q.
And
He comes
as
down.
they swap,
Can be tricky to pull off, but Jovi
Pike roams.
for the flash hold on to his life crucially. However, that is a start of what could be a difficult situation.
So another reason to get a good swap.
Seems unafraid to walk with a 2v1, might lose a little bit more health, but Ruler early on his gank hasn't spent any money.
I mean, Ruler is
Doesn't have the damage to really threaten.
Is also Jinx.
maybe dying in this 1v2.
Will be finding early in T1. Just snowball these lanes.
Oh, he stops him. That's really big.
Small moments, they can feel like a snowball in game number 5 like this.
TP top because they don't have any other choice because Jinx got stopped. Looks like Tom Kench is just going to come up as well. But Jinx in the 1v1 is really in trouble.
T1 so far paid off for investing so heavily in their early game. GenG wanting to leave their options open, wanting to have the late game insurance to Jinx, but just this is not the stage of the game where
And it's going to be the
take
dragon.
full advantage of that.
And once again, we see them start that Drake stacking early.
You're level 4. They're
We're
down.
We're all stolen.
Pike on the way as well. They can't contest this.
Okay, should just get taken out. King might throw a cheeky spear, but it just won't matter. Drake over the side of T1 on top of the Goldie. They've already amassed. They're running the early game.
And for GenG,
I
it becomes
think
how much can they
Ruler's
give, right?
still in
How much
trouble.
can they give up to T1 in
I think
this early game?
these
Are they
lane
able to do
assignments
that?
are really good for T1, I think.
Go all in there.
Yeah, I was about to say, Ruler woken up like that. Like,
Yeah.
that is scary, even with the sun still up. Only sitting on a cult. There might still be a dive for a bot lane.
Ulti. Wants to go down. Wants to get the reset. Owner waiting in the darkness.
Oof. That Q hits, by the way. I think he can dive over and maybe kill him again.
Especially as Guma is also stacking the Draven passive. If he cashes this out, it's going to be such a massive gold lead.
And that is the insurance policy for GenG. Obviously, Ruler on this Jinx. And I do think that Jinx in this composition gets to be online a little bit earlier than you might think because the resets and the amount of upfront damage that's available. But if every lane just starts falling behind, I don't know how much impact Ruler is really going to be able to have because he just won't be able to get through the health bars off these members. Duro just prepping this way for Ruler. The gold leads for everyone on T1 steadily growing. Early Drake found by them as well, and they're going to be feeling great about this early game. It's the team fighting though, where I think the GenG comp can still make a big counterpunch, particularly when next
Every time Duro goes to base, Ruler's in like danger.
people on the other end of the map. No different.
Team finds initial CC carry with a quick pullback. Slice brings Keenan, invites to take him right out. T1 continue to pressure on the top side. This is you point out
Half
well,
HP.
But T1 have Prio on top side. They're fighting for Prio mid lane. It means the owner can start this objective uncontested. GenG cannot find that early skirmish.
Even if Canyon looks for something on the spot side, he is going to get spotted out by that ward on the mid lane.
Ooh, it's a really nice start to this dive.
They want to go all in on this for next. Doran trying to style the exhaust already there. All
Ah.
back through to get into the tower, but now he's phased first with Canyon. Dash through his key.
TK.
Split dives.
I think Doran plays this dive really well from the looks of that.
They want to go all in on
Dodges one thing, gets exhausted, but ults back forward the other way. Duro dies. Okay, they get the kill and the cash out on top as well. Big for T1.
Keria goes down, but it does not matter. T1 wins on both sides of the map, and Owner's going to be able to clean up these grubs.
Doran doesn't have enough to use his flash. He's just chilling. He's vibing alone against 3.
I mean, this swap is so good for
So desperately needs
for
Doran
T1.
watches them leave. Flash in hand. And 1.7k gold lead now for T1. The snowball that with their composition as a prerequisite is fully coming through.
Guma getting so much money on that cash out. 870 looks like it.
922 gold on the first cash out already.
He's got to hold on to mental. How many times have we seen Chovy in these clutch moments watch the map fall apart around him?
Recently, though, GenG have been brought to a number of Game 5s and able to persevere. We saw it domestically. We saw it even last year at MSI against DES. Actually, that matchup going the full distance as well. But as everyone knows, if you watch any League of Legends, T1 are a different beast, particularly with Doran playing the way that he has been. The early snowball for Guma and Keria might not be done.
Carry waiting. Whoa, Keen. We'll play the dodge out. Carry waiting to the last possible second. He has an early ready dirt. Curious to see what he goes for. Might just be the upper play for vision denial. Again, big damage. Keen consistently forced to use that dive. Slice and dice just a backstep just to stay strong in this lane.
And in this attempt to kind of be able to get
I just think these 1v2s, like this lanes are just not good for GenG, but I don't know if they're trapped in them or what.
and it's just kind of vibing in bot, right? Like, and yes, this Jinx
Are they going to swap back? Dragon coming up?
Yeah.
Yep.
Against the Draven, right? But this also costs GenG a lot to be able to swap out of that natural cryo that they would have had with this Renekton.
It's also big that when you look at the setup, Dura tried to go for a W because what else do they have? Like, you need to set up for an Italy Spear. The CC isn't actually there. Runa tried with the traps, there wasn't enough.
I think the frustrating thing here for Keen is you held on, you weathered the storm, who TP's up to the top side of Storm. He's up on XP, he has a fully completed item. So whatever advantage you had earlier on, despite everything you tried to do, it just doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, he's about half a level, and now Owner...
And Onus here gets to make one play on this side. Might trade Dragon for it, but I think it's okay. Yeah, easy dive. Massive punish, and suddenly your Renekton is just really far behind.
No, GenG can really contest. For this Dragon here, looks like they also don't think so.
Even though you've picked into a quote-unquote counter matchup, you know?
They're getting a turret at 12.
Oh my god, they're going to get a full turret.
When you don't stick it in the Renekton, you don't have the cryo, Canyon has to be able to make any plays on
Oh,
this
and they're getting Dragon.
or the Aurora. In this attempt to kind of bridge the gap for this Jinx to even get into the game.
Oh no. That's actually quite big.
It's fine.
But GenG needed that. They needed that bit of hope. Carrier. Again, fishing for the angle. Q ready to go. Ulti stolen. Won't find connection on the Chovy. Good steal from Ruler. Crucial. But again, tough for him to walk out without Joro beside him.
That ends up being a pretty big steal because it does stop this Drake stacking where T1 could potentially force GenG to kind of have to fight them at Drake. They can, if they're still in a really rough spot, give up next Drake, try to farm the waves as they push
Someone
in.
just needs to go, like, he's got Bloodthirster, just
Crazy.
stand there and tank this.
Especially against Lee, right? The fact that he's able to get that is such a big deal. Small enough damage.
Top jungle versus top jungle. Fight contested spear won't hit. Nice eye set from Owner. Carries continues to poke his head in mid lane.
Still, it's 3k gold lead at 13 minutes. Should be
Yep, pretty strong. Carrier, trading blows. It doesn't mean much.
very T1 favored.
Guma's just gonna go all in on Ruler here into the tower. Tom catch might try to come in. Good traps for Ruler. That's crucial.
Oh my god.
Guma. Global zone. Price side step. Ruler might just get caught on the top side. Storm versus Keen. Going all in. Level 10, level 10. Ulti not gonna hit. Every single lane explosive. No kills coming through.
GenG, they're just trying to hold on. The promised land where maybe Ruler can do something. Canyon has looked better on Italy and team fights than anybody. I think his early pick was what really started the snowball here, right? Because Owner was ahead on tempo from the very beginning. Being ahead on tempo meant that the Pyke alone might not be able to get killed. If you add the Lee as well, it is free pickings. But the one thing we always talk about with Pyke is he needs to generate these leads. Because the moment we get the 5v5s, which, again, I think T1 should be able to firmly keep this game in their control. But just in case, shut down onto Doran. Guma overstepping a little bit. Pyke going down. The game is not won, even though T1 is obviously in a very advantageous position.
I've also seen too many Jinx comebacks.
Yeah.
If she's able to survive in a lot of these fights, get excited, get those resets in, she can completely take over the game.
It's also Ruler's Jinx, right? This is a player who, push comes to shove, always seems to find that form in those clutch moments. So, and again, I think credit to T1. We talked so much about how GenG had that experience playing against T1. Weren't caught off guard by the rapid Baron.
Okay.
Very clear that T1 were ready for the mid-lane. Good early pathing, tracking, shutting Canyon down. Has made this early game pretty smooth.
Faker on the top side.
GenG, look for angles of attack, try to find a way to come back. First
Trying to
time,
play for this Herald.
the board.
Shame they don't have the second Dragon.
There are just so many threats.
They can just invade anything.
There's Gumayushi that you can't afford to ignore.
And Canyon.
Okay, Canyon gets the steal.
That's something.
Steal his own,
But now it's Herald started.
thing.
Owner
And I
seems
don't
to
think
go
GenG can
uncontested.
contest this, yeah.
What are the
Chovy is not moving from this bot lane. GenG's kind of fanning out.
I don't think they can
Yeah.
contest. With everyone there. Not really an opportunity. Will a bit cash out his call.
He's got 180 on the stacks as well, so
This is what Pyke loves, right? And yes, the gold lead has been mitigated a little bit. And maybe if the Drakes end up nattering, it could be that one steal from Ruler that gets him back in. But Pyke, as well as Lee, as well as Silas, as well as Doran on this Invesa, if you ever walk into a brush and you just die. There's not that much you can do about it.
Yeah, as soon as they open up the map, most likely with this Herald...
Ocean Soul again.
Soon to get that nice, easy mid-lane prio is set up, right? All these turrets down with the Pyke is just so dangerous, and that is the true potential of where T1 can really snowball their lead.
You can see Carrier disappearing out of fog, ready to fight for the control around this vision. Of course, no one else is on the map, as we can see from our POV. So one overpush there, and Doran just continues to be powerful in the context of these side lanes. Tough for Chovy to match up. Canyon coming in with a quick heal. Q over the wall. Doran.
Ooh, the nice cook.
Carrier now follows up. Bro, forced to use
Hook.
that ultimate. And it's 6 seconds before the Drake.
At level 1 on the ultimate as well, so that means that cooldown is not going to be available. One of the possible angles to deal with a T1 engage. I think this Dragon is, like, you're talking about contesting the first Drake, or the fourth Drake rather. I don't think you should be getting anywhere near them. Just catch your waves, try and...
Because if this is third Drake,
as it is now, don't
it
overstep.
starts to feel really bad, but it's such a second.
Bot was pushing in. They have complete vision
Oh
here.
my god, if he
Ruler
just
trying
stole
to steal
another
again
one.
at this time. But that initial steal means that they don't have to contest, despite the fact that T1 have set the map so heavily in their favor.
And yeah, again, Ruler. I mean, able to find that angle. Canyon, good backstep. Ooh, dodges both. Look, Sonic Wave is starting to walk up. Owner might have to just retreat here. Right buff in his sights, T1.
Oh, this is risky. Look at Doran. He's on his way. GenG shoots ball on mid wave as well. I think they're going to abandon his red buff. I don't think they can contest.
Chovy. To the angle to Carrier. Ulti. Steps up the other side of the wall. Will be fine. Baker seemingly ready for a dive. T1 putting on so much pressure. GenG want this red buff. They don't want to just concede it. Carrier looking for the angle on the hook.
Being on his way.
For a little bit more there this time. Able to secure it. Guma grabbing it as well. And GenG are really struggling to hold on to these little advantages. But again, you highlighted well. Ruler stealing the Drake. Buys them extra time. Buys them another few minutes. But I don't think it'll stop T1 from breaking this tower.
Yeah, and it's just so tough.
Ulti in. Ruler caught out. They don't catch the negative hours, so they go all in on the play. Just tier 1 down though. T1 don't need to overstay. And now the Herald out to safety. Doran 2-0. Take a quick lap around the rift to celebrate.
I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of expecting Doran to go in there. That will be very Doran. Flash out immediately.
Just not in the lane that you expect. Keen. Oh, it's just short.
Oh,
Keen
almost.
had to be sweating there.
Alright, Doran has also had his driver's license revoked.
That was really good traffic. What are you talking about?
It is
didn't
getting
calculate his
this
distance.
yet.
Hey, all right. Like you've never run out of gas before, okay? It happens.
Ran out of gas because when the gas tells me that I need to fill up, I do.
You get too much money, bro. I don't know what to tell you. You've never been desperate enough for the last 20
I
miles.
pushed my car a lot.
There you go.
It was good to me, but I pushed my car a lot.
Baker though, continuing, and again, for GenG, This was supposed to be the story of the Renekton Italy against this Draven bot side. Who could find the bigger advantages? But the answer was very clearly Guma, Keria, this Draven, the setups, owner, shutting down Canyon early. And now it's just all eyes on Ruler to survive and scale.
And more broadly for GenG, this was their tournament, right? And now
300.
down only 2.3, 2.2k, but T1 has set up the map really,
So
really
Draven
well
is going to start absolutely murdering people.
where it might potentially be out of reach. And this was supposed to be, again, their tournament. They're coming off, you know, the big undefeated splash in the LCK. Everyone was saying it's going to be GenG. And T1 were the unexpected team to be here, which feels like we enter every international saying that, but it doesn't make it any less true.
To start the Atcan. TP coming in. I think they just leave this. 320 on Draven stacks.
I think they can give Otacon, and I think T1 not wanting to risk it.
And it full resets.
I don't think they're interested in the 50-50. Lost out a
Which is
surprise
nice.
break once already.
Faker can just ult anyone with the time ult, right? He doesn't have to get 3 stacks.
Again, just
I think.
more and more resources, taking a page out of the GenG book.
I gotta say though, the gold lead has stayed even. I was really, when we sold the early kill.
So if you had 3 dragons, you'd be playing 130 and they have to come fight you for soul and you're going to have a massive Draven. But that Jinx ult is going to be really big.
But we are slowly, if it's 10 more minutes, get into the point, and do note that the soul point is going to be given to T1 in about a minute. But they have 5 more minutes. At that point, it's 2k gold lead. Not going to be the end of the world.
And it's a relatively short range composition. We've seen how hard it can be to play games out in these sort of situations. Jinx long range, Canyon can start to provoke with the spears. As long as GenG hold on, got a pretty good angle to play out these fights. Jovi finds someone waiting in the brush, but Q2 backs up on something striking. Jovi will just walk away with Keria.
His old teammate in the area. Not going to find him though. Hoping to catch him on the next wave, but Jovi diligent on the recall. This is big again. Can't afford to give away any kills. Don't try to keep pressure here, but may just result in GenG conceding a bot lane tier 1. And as we look at the vision, we do see a ton of aggressive vision being set up here by T1. But literally, again, because of that steal from Ruler, GenG cannot opt out of this. I don't know if they will, based on the posturing. I'm going to say that they might be looking to actually contest, but especially with a Ocean Rift, so much vision is denied here.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if GenG just say, okay, we'll try and get a turret.
10 seconds.
Mid.
Faker pushing in top. He has the TP. Don't think he's going to play for the tower though. He's going to reset and try and TP. Doran's resetting as well. They're both going to TP out.
Maybe a quick pick before the fight starts off. Gonna give them
If they win this fight, it can be like the game. Especially if they get a cash. Ooh, TP on the flank
TP behind, TP coming in.
from Doran. TP coming in from Chovy. Guma's a little bit exposed. Faker can take the bot wave and they can contest through bot, but GenG just rushed down mid lane. Ignite down early though. Okay, the ult does very little. Oh no, I think it's too much. Yeah, Doran just dies. Faker wasn't there. Oh, why would you go that far in? Like, why would you TP on the flank and Faker not? And then why would you go that far in? And the problem is that because of the kind of comps, like, that's huge. To be 2-2 in Dragons after the way this early game went is a nightmare. Like, Faker's just not here. Like, just, okay, this is really good. Just leave him now. Leave. This ult is terrible.
And once Jinx starts going, as she's excited, you can say T1 up. We can't go for this fight. We don't have a front line.
But when does this happen? When does the 1.5 item Jinx, who should be firing a pea shooter doing no damage, show up in a fight like this? And again, it's credit to GenG for finding that needle in a hailstack. That one angle to get a fight.
Yeah.
Look at that goal. It's closer.
493 kills. Ruler also passes depth for nice.
But yeah, the other kind of unsung hero in that a bit was also Keen, right? We talked about how this Renekton is essentially the front line for this team.
Now it's going to be really hard for them to contest this. They've used both their TPs on the last one. Doran's not here. It's just 4v5. And they can just keep Owner out. He's going to die as well. Nice kick. Faker tries to go in to save him, but they both die. And that's going to be banned. Oh, that is a tragedy. Okay, they rush down mid. Get as much back as they can. They're going to get another tower as well, but they shouldn't be able to get the inhib.
Oh my gosh, what a back and forth game. Ruler's Jinx back now with a 2k gold lead. That entire swing starts right here, Otacon.
It's Ruler that sets it up. Owner gets caught in the trap, and even with the kick, the damage comes down. The rest of the team on GenG does so much damage. There's nothing that Owner gets to do, and because of that well play, turning the tempo topside for GenG.
You have to be so far ahead.
If you are on the back foot, if you're trying to desperately gain access, if your pike is not in position already,
You have to get all the little skirmishes as well. So as it turns out, that one steal doesn't look like it does much, but it changes the feel of the game so much.
And it was 5 fights that brought T1 back to a game 5 from the deficit despite the soul in the previous game. It's gonna have to be fight. It's gonna have to be a crazy pick from owner. But now the rest of GenG is online as well, right? 3 out of Chovy. Canyon sitting on 2. They can't just go for ruler.
So many times in the clutch, T1 have made the impossible possible. They'll have to do it again because GenG are more powerful. GenG weathered the storm of T1's composition, and they're not looking to give them anything back now that they've taken hold.
And how clutch was that Drake steal from Ruler, unironically setting them in a position where they could sit back, where they could just catch waves, despite losing their outer ring of turrets. That actually ended up being a massive point in this game for GenG.
GenG, from the start of this game, you wouldn't guess it. They held on now, 4K advantage, 2-2 on the Drakes, and they are terrifying around those objectives. An additional BF sword as well for Ruler. He hits like a truck.
Should be really hard now because if you have the like agency on the game, okay, they have to get the picks like this. Is perfect pick if they can kill him. Oh my god, he does so much damage.
That cash in, but then you see GenG immediately responding. They still have Baron, buff minions.
Oh my god, he almost dies.
Yeah, so he lives, so it's fine. Yes, TP can make his way back, but that back cancel I think gives enough time to GenG to just stall. They were able to get both side in him, and even with that pick of the Chovy, that alone is not going to be enough. The main character is Ruler, but if Doran can find Ruler with a kick or an ultimate, that could be what brings T1 to the victory, despite how hard fought.
Okay, Chovy's got 5 seconds and no TP. Faker's TPing behind. I think they need to fight. They need to fight before Chovy gets there. I don't think they can. It's not like they have some like mega engage somewhere.
So many memories in this mid lane. So many series decided by these two players. Ruler and Faker, toe-to-toe again. T1, desperation starting to show as GenG keep it composed. No, they can't afford to give them an angle.
Ruler. The cannon saves him.
Ulti in, managing to connect immediate exhaust. Toro's already used the ulti, and now Faker probably going to try to look to follow up. Doran on the retreat, though, and Chovy firing back. Keen, the flash forward. Ruler, now...
Guma has to flash away already. He's super low. He can't be in the fight at all unless he regens up. Owner needs to regen as well. But I think, yeah, they just get run down.
Doran splitting from the rest of his team for a hope at another shot, at another fight, because it's falling apart for T1.
Have they got enough to end, or do they just take the dragon? I think they just take dragon. They take mid and hip.
One hit is nice, 2 hits is actually debilitating. Makes it so much harder to get outside of your base.
GenG continuing to push up. T1, the last desperate stand.
Are gonna actually push the end. Doran 25 seconds.
GenG looking to close it.
Yeah, they're gonna do it. He's gonna leave. Live, yeah, because they just don't have that much engage. Like, you don't have that much engage left in this kind of fearless situation. Whew. Well, 5 games though. Proper series. Not even the end of MSI. So there's still AL versus BLG, winner versus T1, winner of that versus GenG. It's going to be wild. I love these double elimination brackets. I mean, they sometimes do feel a little bit less hype, but really, really cool. Wait, should we look at this Chovy interview? What's the time? 4:30.
Thank you for coming. How?
Okay. Right. We're doing this again. So, this is the next of Caedrel's awesome interviews. This time with Chovy.
How's he feeling? It was a super long day. How's his energy?
초장기전이었는데 지금 좀 어떠신가요?
일단 초장기전을 했는데 그 와중에도 집중력을 잃지 않고 계속 게임에서 그게 좀 마음에 드는 부분인 것 같아요.
It was a long day,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty satisfied with the fact that I was able to focus up the entire series and
Yeah.
managed to pull up a great place.
This is Twitch chat. They're all saying W Chovy, which means like good job. They have like emotes. This is like the hi. This is like wow Chovy, you know. So everyone's saying hello.
I love that this is a thing, by the way.
I saw you had an AMA and you
so
said
cool.
that sometimes you sleep 4 hours. Is that true? Like, do you like just sleep 4 or 5 hours and then just play, sleep 4 or 5 hours? Is that exhausting?
초비 선수 AMA 한 걸 어디서 봤는데 어떨 때는 4시간만 자고 연습하고 훈련하고 경기 치른다고 하셨어요. 사실인가요? 그럼 4시간만 자고 다시 연습하고 뭐 이런 스케줄로 지내시는지?
매번 그렇지는 않고 이제 좀 뒤죽박죽 한 수밖에 없는 환경인데 한 10일에 한 번 꼴로 그런 경우가 나올 때가 있습니다.
I mean, it doesn't happen every day,
Yeah.
you know, but you know, my lifestyle,
Yeah.
it just happened to have a very mixed sleep schedule. So
Yeah.
sometimes I would say once in 10 days I sleep 4 hours.
Really? How's your English? How's his English? Does he understand what I'm saying?
영어 실력 어느 정도인지?
I wouldn't recommend that, by the way, sleeping even once every 10 days. There are actually people who can survive on a lot less sleep than others, but
궁금하다고 어느 정도 알아들으세요? 말씀하시는 거예요?
I think the way Matt Walker says it is that rounded to a percentage, that's 0% of the population, so very few people.
그냥 어떤 단어가 들리면 그냥 문맥상 뭐 이런 대화겠구나 하는 눈치로 알아듣습니다.
But they also have like the
I
multiple
would
sleep
say
hours,
it's
right,
not
in
that
Korea and
good, but
Alpia.
because of my international event experiences, I'm able to catch one of two like words, and then I kind of understand the context. So like, this is gonna be about like this question.
Yeah. I saw you in game 1 in draft on the camera. I saw you were yawning a little bit. Were you like tired warming up into the series? And do you like take caffeine or anything during the series?
1세트 뱀픽할 때 엄청 시원하게 하품하는 모습이 잡혔거든요. 그때 좀 이제 좀 잠 깨면서 경기를 좀 집중하려고 하셨던 건지 혹시 경기 날 뭐 카페인이나 커피 이런 거 섭취하면서 하는 본인만의 루틴 같은 게 있을까요?
일단 경기 시작 30분 전에 몬스터를 가볍게 마시고 그리고 저는 이제 개인적으로 경기하기 전에 하품을 하면 그날 컨디션이 좀 좋더라고요. 그래서 좀 오늘 컨디션 괜찮다라는 생각이 들었습니다.
30 minutes before the game, I have a sip of Monster.
Yeah.
And then actually, if I yawn before a game, that means I'm going to have a good game.
Okay.
So I felt kind of good when I was yawning today.
Yeah, okay, I'll keep an eye out for that.
Okay, it's a good sign.
Speaking of like exhaustion, just on the topic quickly, your schedule is crazy. Like, how do you relax? Like, is your best way of relaxing like just going outside? Is it just running around in solo queue? Is it just watching films? Like, how do you just have a day off? Like, what do you do?
정말 빡빡한 일정으로 지내시잖아요.
These are all like really interesting questions, but they're less like on the like performance and coaching stuff as the Tabe one.
일단 빡빡한 스케줄인데
So maybe have less to say is what I'm
괜찮은데
getting at.
이제 이번 MSI에 와서는 좀 운동을 하면서 생체 리듬을 찾기도 했고 좀 피곤함이 많이 쌓여 있다 보니까 아무래도 솔로 랭크를 좀 줄이면서 솔직히 최근에 솔로 랭크가 그렇게 크게 중요하다고 생각하지는 않아서 솔로 랭크를 좀 줄이면서 컨디션 관리에 신경을 쓰고 있는 편이에요.
Well, I mean, in Korea, I would do some of those activities to kind of relax, but right now when I was here, I started hitting the gym actually. I thought it was pretty good, you know, getting the and then recently, because I was so exhausted, I kind of decided not to play too many solo queues because I also kind of realized that playing a lot of solo queue doesn't really mean much to me at this point. So I started to play a little less solo queue and then trying to.
I mean, it's really interesting, right? I saw a thing that Rob tweeted. If let me find it. I think GenG have the lowest elo of anyone at MSI. So let me just bring this up. So he's talking about the Tabe one, which obviously went mega viral because he was talking about how much they play. Like 2 blocks is too little. GenG, best team at the tournament for sure. Lowest average LP, so lowest solo queue games since coming. Not saying one is better than the other, but if you just listen to one of these interviews and you're like, oh, these are the best people in the world, so therefore we have to work really hard, or therefore solo queue doesn't matter. Like, depends on who you listen to.
Get more of like me time.
The best player in the coach, or maybe the best best player in the world, or maybe the best coach in the world. Like, who do you listen to? They both say the opposite.
아무래도 최상위권에 가려면 이제 받는 계정이 최상위권은 아니다 보니까 저희가 많이 해야 되는데 많이 하면은 이제 시간적으로 썼을 때 좀 컨디션 관리가 어렵기도 하고 그리고 또 아무래도 좀 확실히 제가 생각하는 구도와 다른 구도가 나오다 보니까 근데 이거는 이 북미 서버만 해당되는 게 아니라 한국에서도 많이 느꼈던 거라서
부관 때문에 아니야 솔랭 자체가?
예, 솔랭 자체가 그래서
그런 It's not about NA solo queue. I didn't mean that way. It's just the accounts that we receive, you know. It's not the top ELO accounts, so you have to grind a lot.
Yeah, that is really
more,
stupid.
Games,
you get like good MMR, but you don't get like challenger straight away.
To reach that kind of ELO, then I would not be able to in my best condition, best form, because I have to, you know, stay up all night playing solo queue. And a lot of solo queue games recently, something I noticed is it doesn't really go based on the matchup understandings that I have. It's just not about NA solo queue. It's not about the ELO. It's just everywhere. Everywhere he plays solo queue, it just doesn't go as he expects.
Oh, I see. One question I had was, like, obviously it's a long series, like 5 games. In between games, how much of that in between games is draft talk? Like how much do you
Oh, I
sit
love
there and
this
just
question.
talk draft? Is it
'Cause we
straight
haven't
away,
heard
or
this
is there
since
small
Fearless.
game pointers after the game?
오늘도 옥과까지 가면서
This is
네
a
번의
perfect
피드백
question.
시간이 있었잖아요.
Because
그럼
I don't know how
피드백하는
to do this.
타임에 몇 퍼센트 정도가 뱀픽 얘기인
And this
거예요?
is why the
바로
Tabe
그냥
answer
시작하자마자 뱀픽 얘기로
was so
들어가는지 아니면 뱀픽 얘기도 하고 뭐 인게임 얘기도 하고.
저는 이제
Like, if it's
다전제를
just your
많이
coach,
해보면서 느낀 게 다전제에서
that's really cool.
게임 피드백을
So it'd be really
하는데
interesting to
큰
see what he
의미가
says.
없다고 생각을 해서 중요한 부분만 짧게 짚고 오늘 게임의 전체적인 컨셉과 우리가 뭐 좀 위축되어 있으면 위축되어 있다 이런 말을 하고 분위기 한번 환기한 다음에 뱀픽 얘기를 들어가는 것 같아요.
Based on my previous, internationals events experience, which I have quite a lot right now, I kind of realized going back to your in-game play doesn't really help
Yeah,
you a lot.
move
So we try to move on, exactly. We just try
Okay.
to focus on our kind of mental state. If we are like feeling small, our coaches try to refresh ourselves and make us feel a lot more confident, and then we move on to the draft talk.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is really, really good advice, but also do bear in mind if you're listening to this team has been together for a long time, and the core of it has been together for, well, with Canyon, I guess not all that much time, but still way more time than most teams have been together in Europe, let alone in ERLs. So there are some things that, for example, Nord will do. We've been together for like months, or each split is new. So by the time we get to finals, there might well be some little silly things that we're just forgetting that are worth talking about. So again, I think like I said, I absolutely love having these questions, but you also do need to think about, okay, this is for them, and what's the best thing to do for me, and what's the reasoning for what they're doing, and therefore do I agree with the reasoning? But here, I really like it. Like if you're really comfortable with the team, if you're really high level players, you've got a lot of experience, like, as a coach, you don't need to be telling them, oh, we need to play more aggressively around side lanes, guys, or something like that. Like you just keep it simple, keep it more about their mental state, and then go into draft. Exactly what you're saying. I love that.
I had a question about game 3. You might not remember, but I'll remind you, like you had Galio, Cassante, Pantheon, and you had Senna, and T1 picked MF on 4. And I looked at the game, and nothing happens for 30 minutes, and then you just win. Were you worried a bit about them like outscaling you with damage, or did you think that your comp, even with so many tanks, will be fine in like the late game?
이제 3세트
Still in
얘기를
like
좀
the
해보고
MF.
싶은데 그때 탱커 정말 많이 나와. 갈리오, 크산테, 판테온 나왔고 이제 상대는 4픽으로 세나가 나왔어요. 그럼 이제 한 30분 가까이 특별한 액션 같은 게 나오지 않고 경기가 무난히 흘러갔거든요. 이렇게 됐을 때 상대방이 우리보다 좀 왕비를 잘하겠다 이런 부분에서 오는 걱정은 없었나요?
3세트 때 저희가 세나 아니었나요? 상대가 미스포춘.
미포 상대가 미포죠.
예.
세나가 젠지 했었고 미포를 뽑았는데 30분 넘게 아무 일도 일어나지 않아서 이제 상대가 우리보다 조금 후반 도모를 잘할 수 있어서 좀 문제가 되지 않.
보다 초반 교정 확신이 있었습니다.
Well, I mean, Senna is the late game insurance we had, so we were never worried about opponents outscaling us. And for sure, maybe like Pantheon,
It's because they got Senna and no threat on
Sante,
Senna.
or the champions that are.
Like T1 didn't have any threat of really actually killing Senna, and so that's why I think that's why I was saying while watching it that like. For me personally, if you can find something that does a lot more damage than the MF, I would much prefer it. Like even like Smolder or something. I can't remember what the rest of the draft was, but something that has a lot more threat on the front line. Or Jinx. Or Aphelios or whatever. Because you're not going to be able to dive on the enemy backline when they've already got those 3 massive tanks, and they're probably going to have another tank in support. And so you're going to have to outmatch and get through frontline
really
quicker.
Good in the early game.
So the Senna pick I think was really, really good.
Scaling back.
Can't remember the bans as well.
I was pretty confident of about our comp, and the moment we finished drafting, the thing we said was as long as we can avoid any early game accident, we're good.
Interesting. Okay, what's the most like annoying or like difficult thing about playing against T1? Because you've played against them so many times. What's the one thing that's always like the hardest to deal with?
T1은 수업. Please, that's sneaky. They're sneaky.
They're sneaky.
그런
T1 is sneaky. That is the perfect description.
Exactly, that's sneaky. They're sneaky objective tries, especially Arachons and Barons. They just started off very sneakily.
Yeah.
That's the annoying part.
I saw in some of the games you were going to like Dragon Soul, and then T1 is going Baron with Azir, and you're all, oh, Baron, 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 and everyone's running to Baron to stop it, so I could see that. T1, do they make finals, you think?
T1이 결승에 갈 것 같다고 생각하시나요?
사실 이거는 되게 어려운 질문인 것 같습니다. T1뿐만 아니더라도 AL
Looks so strong.
위협적인 팀이라고 생각을 해서 일단 그 두 팀이 가장 경계되는 것 같습니다.
It's a very difficult question because not only T1 but also AL looks so strong and scary. So I think I'm watching out for both of them. They
Okay.
are looking very strong.
I have one last question because
Very diplomatic answer.
Do you have any advice for Europe? Because now I ask everyone this question. We're the worst.
Please
team to
help us,
employ, we're
Jovi.
the first
Jovi
teams
and
knocked
Tame.
out. Do you have any advice for our
Please
players
help
or our
us.
teams or our drafts or our gameplay? Anything you saw in scrims or gameplay that we're just bad at?
유럽이라든지 보면
확실히 가장 중요한 것 같아요. 어느 팀이
to them is I mean we played against them in scrims and competitively, and I do believe that they have the potential.
Okay.
But one advice I can give to them is I think drafting is so important right now.
Yeah.
Pick and bans. I think it's just advice to every other regions. You know, drafting is important.
Draft
Everyone.
better. Okay, more draft prep. Thanks so much, Chovy. The chat's coming. Chovy, thanks for coming. I really
Again,
appreciate it. And
I
good
think it's
luck
so
in the finals.
awesome.
Good luck.
Thank
that
you.
Mark does these.
Chat,
I think
that
that's
was
so
it.
cool.
I'll take your mics and headsets and I can view
I
them
love
all
his
and
last
say-
question. He needs to keep asking that. We need all the help we can get. I've got thoughts as well, but already just getting good advice from people who know better. Right, so that's my thoughts on the Chovy interview. I'll try and not see the interviewee if I can. Problem is I watch so much casual stuff that it's always recommended to me. I'm scouting, obviously. I'm scouting for NLC. Anyway, that's it for today. So tomorrow we've got scrims. We'll do an MSI watch party as well. Not exactly sure when. Maybe in the early afternoon. But if you're on the Discord or obviously following on Twitch or something, you'll see it. But if not, I will see you at scrims, which is tomorrow evening at 5:45, I think. Oh, I can't spell cal for calendar. Yeah, 5:45 scrims tomorrow. Maybe something tomorrow in terms of MSI.